Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of Beacon. I'm here with the Stream Punks. We've got a big game today, as per usual, so I'm going to jump into the announcements before we jump into where we left off. First of all, thank you for joining us tonight. I wanted to give everyone a heads up that Good at Stuff is back tomorrow. If you are familiar with Streampunk and beloved friend Gina DeVivo, she has got her show on the Crown Channel. The time it goes live is 5 p.m. Eastern time. And tomorrow she's kicking off her second season painting miniatures with Matt Mercer, Sage Ryan, and Chelsea Bites. So as somebody, Matt sat me down and we spent an afternoon painting minis. I was trying to paint my BattleTech army, and I was painting a lance of battle mechs, and he was painting minis, and he tried. Like, I appreciate how desperately he tried to teach me how to do this well, and teach me his ways. But I thank you for priming my mechs for me, Matt. They are still primed and unpainted, except for that one that I absolutely slaughtered. But check it out. It's going to be at 5 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time on the Crown Channel. That is the only other announcement I have is tonight we're having a giveaway. So a big thank you to our sponsors, Demiplane, who is sponsoring us for the second half of the season. We are deeply grateful for that. If you guys are interested in checking Demiplane stuff out, do keep in mind that right now they're having a big discount sale for Cyber Monday over on their website. So check it out. I think it's 20% off of digital products. So go give it a look. If you click on our bit.ly links that we're putting up in chat, it helps the Stream Punks if you'd like to support us. Makes us look good. Also, we're having a giveaway tonight. For those of you who did not know, the Colonial Marines Operations Guide, the manual, has released and is up on Demiplane now on the Alien Nexus. And we are going to be giving away a code during the break. Make sure you type in !Demiplane during the break when the giveaway is happening and enter in for a chance to win a free digital copy of the Colonial Marines Operations Manual on Demiplane platform. Thank you so much, as always, to Demiplane for sponsoring us. And that is the announcements I have. Would anybody else like to go next? Does anybody have anything that they are doing that's wicked cool? Oh, real quick. I just remembered. A quick congratulations to dear friend and streampunk Latia, who I don't know if y'all heard, but Latia is now the community manager for Dungeons & Dragons. So go you. That is awesome. And we are celebrating your success. Thank you, Watsy, for doing smart stuff. Okay. Anybody else got any announcements?
I will see you all at PAX. That'll be fun. I'm doing a panel with, speaking of Latia, Cadiosaurus, Princess Calamity, Nala Wu, and HDT Paladin on gaming while neurodivergent, being the neurodivergent. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So feel free to check that out. That's going to be this Friday at 5 p.m. one time zone. I don't know which one I'll post it on my Twitter.
Fair. Cool. All right. Thanks, Noir. Gaming while neurodivergent. I feel like that could have been an alternate title for the Stream Punks.
Rocking it.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything?
I do.
Yeah.
Thin Places Radio is back this week. We'll have a new episode early morning on Friday. You can check it out. Everything is on pretty much any podcast platform. It's if Dear Abby was a paranormal radio show. You can actually call in and leave voicemails, and the host will write you a fun little response. So, episode 7 comes out on Friday.
Gnarly. Okay. Thank you, Caitlin. Anybody else? Nobody else? Really? Yes, Sam.
Well, so a few months ago, I found like this Force sensitive kid, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I've been figuring out what to do with it. If you want to see me stumble through that process, led by Eric Campbell and followed by Caitlin, because she's the little that I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, for Streampunk's subscribers, companion tier and up tomorrow night is the next episode of Jedi Shadows, so come check it out. That is at 6:30 p.m. PST
We also left off at a very dire spot in that one, too.
We are in dire heterosexuals and
we are.
everything. It's always dire straits here. And it's in the dark. Okay, I just had the moment where I loaded the emotions back into my head again, and
And you're excited?
I'm sure feeling some things.
Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of Beacon. Welcome back to Beacon. Let's go ahead and jump in to tonight's story. We're going to forego the usual long explanation as to what happened in the previous session, and instead, we're going to pick up directly in the medical bay aboard the Ilios. Right now, with a bunch of technical supplies laid out, you are conducting, Martha, what could be considered a very technologically savvy surgery on a heavily damaged synthetic. The slashing marks on the synthetic. I'm going to have you make, this is not to repair. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how much information you were getting as you repaired. Because if you remember correctly, we actually rolled last week. You gave me your results in chat, so we know that you are going to successfully repair after one shift the Bishop synthetic. I want now that you've been sort of digging around and putting Bishop back together again, I want to get a sense of what you have been able to uncover, if anything. So do me a favor and make a Comtech check right off the top.
Does this include hardware and or software?
Definitely includes hardware.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it includes software.
Okay. So 10 dice. All right. One success.
One success is all you need. How many did you get?
2 successes.
2 successes, so you can stunt this.
Okay.
So the first piece of information you were going to be given.
Oh, sorry. Please hold. I'm rolling my stress dice.
Oh, no problem.
Ooh.
Did you roll a 1?
No. I rolled a 5 on one of them.
Okay, you're fine.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, no, you only the only time stress dice ever triggers if you roll a 6, which gives you a success, or if you roll a 1, which triggers a panic roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, right. I was thinking of the panic. Yeah.
The panic table, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So the first piece of information I will give you, and then because you've stunted, I'm going to allow you to ask an additional question. But if you'd like, because I did have you roll on a Comtech check, keep in mind for your stunt, you can have it be something that's not relevant to what I've just called for. So if you want more information, I give it to you, or you can do I repair Bishop in half the time, or I uncover new and unexpected information, that kind of stuff, like you did on the mainframe on Mother inside the colony. So the first piece of information I'll give you is that upon putting this Bishop back together, first of all, judging from the state of the internal operations of the synthetic, this damage could not have been that long ago. It would have had to have been relatively recent, maybe in just hours. If y'all weren't around for it, it couldn't have happened more than just a few hours before the Ilios arrived, is your guess. Also, it looks like he has been forcefully deactivated, meaning it wasn't the damage that shut him down. It looks like he was deactivated.
Okay.
Which, for the record, just so you know, that's not something that's easy to do on a synthetic. They typically have to be plugged in or like connected to a computer for maintenance or software upgrades, any kind of thing like that. But for the most part, you can't. It's not like data in TNG. You can't just flip a switch. There's not a secret button. So that's worth noting.
Okay.
Okay.
You gave me other information in chat about the claw mark and who it came from.
Yeah. That much you were given when you were putting it back together, because you stunted for an extra piece of information. So you know for a fact it was the creature you guys encountered. You know for a fact it had to have been the creature that you encountered aboard the Russian ship.
Okay. I think the only other major thing I want to do here is, I don't know if it's a stunt or another role, but I want to talk to this. I want to know what's in its brain. What does it know? What happened?
You can, if you wanted to, you could turn him back on.
Can I
flip the switches per se?
Can I turn him back on with some type of like safety protocol, like safe mode?
Yes. If you wanted to, you could literally activate his vocal and auditory processes only. Much like activating just a computer's voice and sensory recognition.
Yeah.
So that he would still be, it would be like somebody speaking through a computer from a coma.
Okay. I would like to do that.
Okay. You enter a couple of commands and you see on your screen next to the Siegson logo starts to say initiating. And a few moments later, you see the Bishop unit. You see the pupils begin to fluctuate, like dilate, and then refocus again. The eyes don't blink, however. And a few moments later, you see dialogue, words, like a chat program appearing on your data pad that is plugged into the Bishop. And it just says, "Where am I?" ?
Hello, Bishop. You are on a ship called the Ilios on Paxton's Reach. I've just restored your programming and your functions.
There's a pause as your voice to speech translates onto the Siegson data pad. And a few moments later, the text line appears, "Is everyone all right? Did they get out safe?"
I might need more context to be able to answer that for you properly.
The creature, that attacked us on the downed vessel. Is the administrator able to get away? ?
Yes, the administrator was able to get away. I don't know how long ago that was. We can probably maybe check your memory banks for how long ago that was, but I can also tell you that a colleague of mine and I have killed that creature.
A few moments later, "I'm pleased to hear it. Unfortunate that it had to die. Would like to have known more."
Yeah, us too.
"How is the colony? ?
Things seem to be difficult since we got here, and we're still learning more and trying to assess where we can help. Can I ask you, What is your assessment or knowledge of the administrator and the administrator's behavior over the past several months?
The reply is, I'm sorry, but in order to answer that, I would need to know exactly who you are.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I am Corporal Martha Marrero. I'm part of the Beacon team, so we've come here to help, and we're a nonprofit that comes and helps colonies like this.
The reply is, yes, I've heard of Beacon. It was making the rounds on the news networks.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's us.
What is your association with Wayland Yutani?
Well, mine, no personal association.
Is there any way I can verify that you are a member of the Colonial Marine Corps?
Sure.
Standing by.
Yeah, okay. Do I show an ID or?
Yeah, you could basically, if you want to sort of allow access to your personnel file, there's nothing in there that's terribly sensitive aside from why you are here or you do have a military ID.
Yeah, I'd like that too.
Okay.
I don't want the whole file to be read.
You take a look and you're like, transparency is good, but maybe a little too much information. You immediately clip that in and activate it up. You see it uploading into the file. And a few moments later, it says, verified. Thank you for accommodating me.
Gladly.
You want to know about the administrator's behavior.
Yes.
Frankly, I found it troubling.
Oh. How so?
You would like me to elaborate?
Yes, please.
It's worth noting that my opinion is somewhat limited. I can give you an assessment.
I'm sure that will be very helpful, whatever you can provide.
Administrator Ruiz seemed rather, how should I say, perhaps it would be more accurate to describe him as a man with mixed priorities.
Could you elaborate on what those priorities are?
After the detection of the SSV Novik in the crash site, he became rather obsessed with getting to the crash site as quickly as possible. At first, it was because we thought perhaps there might be survivors that we could help. But upon arrival, it became clear that it was something so much more. We managed to investigate the site for a few moments, but something went terribly wrong while we were there. The administrator uncovered what seemed to be a small containment unit of some kind. And as he was securing it and investigating it, I happened to notice the destruction of a cryopod in the cargo bay. If you killed the creature, I'm sure you've seen it yourself.
I'm not sure we went down to the cargo bay, but we did see the containment unit.
That was in the cargo bay.
Oh, okay.
Just to clarify, yeah.
Then yes.
The containment unit was still sputtering with power when we discovered it.
Was there something in it?
I believe that the creature that attacked and killed two of the people before I was rendered inoperable was the creature that was inside of it.
Was it in it when you arrived at the crash site?
No, but there was a strange liquid found everywhere that would indicate that it perhaps had been wounded somehow.
Yeah. I saw that too. Okay, what happened next?
I was investigating the destroyed cryo unit on the walls of the cargo bay when I heard a cry of alarm and gunfire. When I emerged from the cargo unit, I saw just in time to see Director Ruiz escaping from the interior of the crashed vessel, and the creature, and then a description of the creature appears on the text. This large creature with white skin that looked like it was just bleached pale, stretched over bones. It moved very fast, immediately killed one of the members of the recovery team. I intercepted it and engaged with it in hand-to-hand combat. Something that I am not programmed to do. I held it in place for as long as I could, but its strength was nearly a match for my own. I told Ruiz and everyone else to flee, but the creature managed to break away and gashed me and threw me against a wall. I don't know what happened next, but I heard strange noises outside and a strange roaring sound. Next thing I know, it grew quiet. Ruiz stood over me, along with a few of the other survivors. I saw his mouth moving. He seemed to say something, but I couldn't hear as my audio receptors were starting to fail me. I was damaged, but I was not inoperable. One moment. Processing. Yes, I was able to read his lips. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I believe he said, "Shut him down. This changes everything."
Do you remember then being deactivated? And by who?
Yes, one of the other members of the unit. Mr. Macheski, I believe, leaned over me and said, "What about the other thing? We need to get out of here." And then I don't remember what happened next. I suspect that I went into some kind of stasis, though I'm not sure that anybody of the party had the technical acumen to do such a thing. It's a bit of a mystery of how it was that I was rendered unconscious. I'm not certain how long I've been unconscious.
I'm not sure either, but I don't think it's been very long.
He gives you a date. You see the numbers pop up. And while it's not consequential to the narrative, it is shocking to you that it looks like this date was literally 24 hours before the arrival of the Ilios.
I'm going to relay that back to him.
I see. It's odd that I find it odd that Tanahashi would not have brought me back online.
All I can tell you is that you were basically stashed away from everyone else after this happened.
That confirms some of my worst suspicions about the administrator.
Can you elaborate on that?
The colony was suffering severe degradation, and the people were starting to suffer. I was doing the best I could to keep the systems online, but me and Tanahashi were both being overtaxed. I was told after much... How would Tanahashi put it? Pestering and badgering. The administrator was relenting and finally putting out a distress call to Beacon. So I was aware that you were all at least being reached out to. The administrator seemed rather obsessed with the SSV Novik. For all intents and purposes, it seems like it was a vessel that crashed probably sometime during the Frontier War.
So it didn't crash, like, recently?
That confuses me as well. I can't think of another reason why a UPP ship would be out this far and how it could randomly crash on this planet. If it wasn't a relic of the Frontier War, then that means it would have had to have happened relatively recently. And if that's the case, I can't extrapolate why the UPP would be in the Frontier.
I can't either. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me or you can tell me about the situation here?
I'm afraid I don't know much else than that. Aside from the suffering of the colonists, it's good that you're here. And it's good to hear that the Colonial Protection Act is actually in full force. If the Colonial Marines are here, it means the colony has some hope. But also, I'm not sure I'm going to be of much help.
Well, can I ask your opinion?
Of course.
As someone who has seen a lot here and has been in close contact with the administrator. Beacon is here, but I am not. I'm part of the Beacon team. The Marines are not here, but they can be if I call them. Do you think I should call them?
That's an excellent question. I think that it is advisable for this colony to be abandoned. The immense amount of work that needs to be done here is simply too great for such a small team. If there were more than just you, then perhaps it would be worth or possible to salvage. We would need a large amount of supplies. A large amount of engineering work needs to be done. And there are too many people. And unfortunately, my expertise and ability to help has been completely nullified. I appear to be unable to move.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and type in the code to completely restore Bishop's function.
You see it upload. And he blinks for a moment. And then you hear that signature, like, deep bass Lance Hendrickson voice as he turns and looks at you and says, I seem to be restored.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just wasn't sure what state you were in before, so I booted you up in safe mode as a precaution.
It's all right. I've become very used to the suspicions of humans, he says with a sardonic smile.
Guilty.
But if you're being honest with me, then I should be honest with you. I'm not property of the colony. I'm here as part of a, I should say, an aid package that was delivered to the colony when it was first booting up.
From whom?
I'm not actually aware of who it was that purchased me and had me delivered to this colony. But I came online here and was set to work here.
Got it. I would love for you to meet the rest of my crew. But I'm concerned that bringing you back online may enrage the administrator and maybe some other folks because they specifically deactivated you. Would you be okay with waiting here while I go get my team?
I didn't realize the situation had gotten that bad.
It's pretty bad. It seems pretty bad. I want to just give you some more updates on the last 24 to 48 hours because you've given me so much. But once we arrived, we recognized that the manifest list that we had was short by several hundred people. We thought there would be 900. We were told there were 800 when we arrived, and we found out the actual number of people still here are 300.
300 people.
Yes.
It was 5 when I was unconscious. How could 200 people have died in 24 hours?
Oh my God. Well, um, we know where the bodies are. Um,
At the
we
mine
are,
shaft.
yes, yes. So you know about that?
Yes.
Were you commanded to help put them there?
Yes. Under
Okay.
protest. I
Oh,
informed the administrator that I thought this was a poor decision on his part. I suspect that probably led to some of the lack of loyalty he showed me after I helped save his life.
yeah, yeah. That actually really does explain why you were deactivated.
Mm. The
Um,
administrator didn't want it getting out how bad things had gotten, I believe. But
yeah,
I can only guess. There was a lot of talk about not having the manpower to bury the dead. There was a certain logic to that, particularly with the confined spaces, the air scrubbers falling apart, and our overtaxed medical team. There were questions about disease and the inability to store corpses of dead colonists. But 200 in 24 hours seems shocking and terrible. And how? It would have had to have been a great accident to have occurred.
perhaps. Um, okay. I need to confer with my team and see how they're doing inside. I still think you should lay low. How do you feel about that?
If I can be honest with you, Corporal, I don't like that at all. But if you think it's best,
Just for now. I'll come back and get you, especially because we might need some help. As you said, this colony should be abandoned, and we have gotten every indication that the administrator would not allow that to happen. So we might need some help with that.
if I can be honest with you, I don't think the administrator cares about the colony at all anymore.
Really?
My assessment of his focus on the downed UPP vessel seemed to suggest that what had become more important to him than anything else is the vessel itself and perhaps what was on board. But I've been unconscious and don't know what's changed or what the man was referring to. Nor do I know what he was referring to when he referenced a second creature. Kenneth seemed to be speaking about something else.
Kenneth, you said?
Yes, Kenneth Macheski. He is one of the loyalists for the colony administrator.
Okay. Okay. Bishop would now visibly see Martha a little perturbed.
Are you all right?
I'm all right. This is just a lot of information, and I've never not been a part of a troop of soldiers and needed to do something like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just feeling totally unprepared, and I have a great team, but there's only 4 of us.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's how I felt when the administrator dragged me out into the middle of the desert to analyze the SSV Novik. My team is Mr. Tanahashi and his wife.
How about this? I go back inside. I get Tanahashi and his wife. Discreetly tell them you're back online and that you'd like to see them. And I'll bring them out.
If you think that's best. Also, Corporal, I do have the access codes to the entire facility.
Really?
Yes. If you need to gain access to Mother or any of the rooms that might be quarantined or shut off.
Do those access codes also have the ability to lock someone into their room?
Well, I don't mean to brag, but I think Mother likes me.
Okay, actually, you're coming with me.
A
And
small smile appears on his face and says, maybe I can be of use.
yeah, Martha walks out, beckoning him to follow.
He looks over. You see him grab a small strip of medical tape, and as he follows you from behind, he just kind of wraps an entire strip of medical tape around the center of his body to close up the tear in his flight suit, and he just goes,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let me help you with that.
no, it's all right. I'm sure I can find a tailor somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm not good at sewing, but I can tape things.
You are good at sewing. You closed me up just fine, Corporal.
Oh, thanks. Okay, let's go.
All right. The two of you exit. Inside the colony of Paxton's Reach, the two of you stand in front of this gory scene. A streak of blood just smeared up the wall and into what looks like an air duct that one of the air filters, one of these units, was placed inside. The scrubber has been completely torn free and is dangling down. You've managed to get Matsuda Shiko up off of the ground, but she still seems completely unable to respond. Her voice is still shaking, and she's not looking at anybody in particular. And she has blood still spattered on the side of her face. And if you look to see if there is a wound, there is not. It is not hers.
If I could, I would like to try calming presence to try and get her to. Right now, we need information. I need her to snap out of it.
Okay, you can try talking to her.
So it's just gonna go.
So I will let you. You can do a manipulation check here
Okie dokie.
and see if you can try to snap her out of this.
I put a point in it this time. So here we go. Alright. That is one success. That's 6, 5, 3, 5, 2, 4. And
Okay.
Now I've got to roll my panic real quick.
Oh, you rolled on the panic table? Did you you rolled a 1 on your stress die?
Oh, no, I didn't. I rolled a 2 on my stress die.
Okay, then you don't have to roll on the panic table.
Oh, okay, cool.
You only have to roll on the panic table if you roll a 1 on the stress die.
Okay,
Otherwise,
okay.
you're okay.
All right. So, yeah, he's just, hey, I can only imagine what you're seeing now, but there will be time to feel it later. Right now, we diagnose. What can you tell me?
You can tell she doesn't understand what you're saying to her, but she responds to you by her eyes slowly, just like a hand on a clock, tick over until they finally lock with you. Like she's searching for whoever's talking for a moment until she finally locks eyes with you. And her breath changes immediately. She exhales. She's and then tears begin to flow down the side of her face.
I know.
She's there, Doc, but she is still locked behind her eyes, and she's absolutely frozen in terror right now.
He's just gonna hug her and just kind of reassure her. I got you. We got.
The moment
big
you
old guns
hug
here.
her, yeah, the moment you wrap your arms around her and start speaking to her, you feel her breathing start to pick up. Like the shock is finally wearing off and the panic is setting in. She starts breathing rapidly, and then she lets out a scream that echoes, a like throat-tearing scream that causes her to break and grow quiet for a second. It's not quite enough to make you all gain a point of stress, but it's certainly close.
I was gonna say, for the sake of everybody else, I'd kind of press her into the hug harder so it muffles in my chest, and I'll just take the full brunt of that. Like fear.
She grips your coat and just tugs on it while she screams into your chest.
All right.
And then finally her voice gives out and she falls into choking sobs.
I'm gonna put her somewhere comfortable, and if I can find one of those mercenary men, I'm just gonna go.
Yeep. Yeah.
Nothing happens to her.
You find them about the same time they came looking to hear what the hell the scream was. Two guys come running out of the main cargo facility, guns at the ready. And when they round the corner, they stop and they see the scene. And for a second, they don't look like they know what to make of what they're looking at. But then they see you holding and cradling her, Doc. And one of them lowers their weapons and goes, "What the fuck?"
First off, language. Second, my friend here needs you to watch out for her. We've been visited by what I can only assume to be the Pale Man.
The one on the left doesn't seem to know what the hell that is, because you see the look on his face. He glances over to his companion, and his companion replies, "How the fuck do you know about that?"
I know a great many things. I was sent here to solve your problems, and I'm trying to do so. Don't ask silly questions. Take care of my friend, and we're going to get back to the business of creating solutions.
That seems to set him straight. He just nods, and he says, "Come on, Chico. Come on. Come on."
You'll be all right, I promise.
They take her, and she grips a hold of one of them and still pulls you along for a second before she realizes that she's still grabbing hold of you, and she purposely lets go, and they start leading her away. Who else is there with you, Doc? Who was also on site?
I believe I had Bishop on my side.
Bishop? No, Bishop wasn't there.
Not Bishop. I'm so sorry. Isaac.
Isaac. Okay.
I just remember Isaac was carrying Bishop.
Yeah, at one point Isaac was carrying Bishop like a baby.
Like a wee little baby.
So
and Tig was around as well.
Okay, yeah, Tig, you would have heard the scream.
Yeah. I think we all showed up because I failed an observation check.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I was there, but Isaac was the one who saw everything first. And then,
yeah.
So Tig was probably crouched down with the Dakin.
Now, keep in mind the power has gone out. So right now, everywhere y'all are moving is by shoulder lamps and flashlights. So, inside the cargo facility, there's a lot of people that are somewhat panicked by the echoing scream that they heard a few moments ago. But that's not your problem right now. Your problem is that blood smear going into the air duct and the boot with the foot still in it.
Oh, yeah. I would say
on the floor.
upon having seen that, probably once it was pointed out, Tig has I had that rifle from the downed ship, and so that is immediately pointed in the direction of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Of that port, that vent port.
You raise it up to the vent port.
Mm-hmm. Just watching while the doc dealt with.
Okay. Nothing. It's eerily quiet, especially because the power is off. The backup generators have not activated, which in the back of your mind, each of you knows is going to be a problem when it comes to air scrubbers.
Limited time.
If I get back, I would like to take a look at the foot to see how it was removed from the person.
Okay. Make me...
I'm fully flanking, by the way. I am like fully on, like.
Yeah, you've been in this situation plenty of times, Tig. Sometimes you were the one that was getting covered. Sometimes you were covering the people. But you've certainly been in situations where work needed to be done and somebody had to stand overwatch. So in this case, Doc, I think because you are trying, I think you're using your medical ability here. So use your medical aid to check the foot.
Nice. And can I use my medical kit?
Not for this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is 2 successes.
2 successes. So, you were trying to ascertain what the heck happened here?
Yeah, I want to know if this was a cut. Was the foot cut off? Was it pulled off by brute strength? I'm trying to just kind of gauge whatever I can about this.
It's not
creature.
hard to start putting it together. without going into gory detail, there's still musculature that is literally hanging out the side of the boot, which tells you that's part of the calf muscle, and it's very likely that this was bitten off. And it was probably done quickly because being left behind, your instinct is that it was bitten off probably before I give you any more information, what do you want to use your second stunt for?
That is, I think more information right now is what we need.
You can picture in your head Ethan was kicking at this thing. He may have gotten a few good kicks because there's another fluid that's at the bottom of the boot that you can see. It's not blood of any kind. You imagine Ethan must have been kicking at this thing, which tells you he was probably being dragged into the air vent and he was trying to kick it off of him, and it lashed out and bit off, tore it free. And that was what he needed.
Am I able to kind of deduce the size of this thing by the bite?
Yes, but because you've used your second stunt, you're
That's
gonna
fair.
you could ascertain that if you spent some time studying this. Yes.
Okay, I think
you get a bite radius down probably.
Yeah, I think he's just. It's very weird. After he calmed his friend down, he's just hyper focusing on what he has here.
Okay.
Are you verbalizing any of this?
Yeah.
To Tig?
It's not so much the Tig as much as it's just
Out loud.
an out loud catalog. Like, I know a bite when I see one, but good God, to bite it that hard, that fast. How big is this thing? This ain't not like no wolf or no dog bite. And it's just going through.
At that, I think Tig will like crouch down, like still completely eyes on where this like trail is leading with the rifle up. Will crouch down so that she's next to Doc, and I'm gonna try to look down and get a couple of like glances at it to see if I can, from having seen and encountered the creature, does that seem like comparable?
Make a medical aid check.
Okay.
Everybody came to play aliens. I came to play house.
That's one success and good on. The success is on the panic die.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Tig, look. You're a Marine and you have seen the sights. You've been places, and encountering native life sometimes is quite terrifying. You have heard plenty of stories about lionworms, which can grow up to 3 meters and like to eat things that move. And there are occasional things that y'all have run into that can do some pretty vicious shit. And you're glancing down at this, and the bite force of this thing must be comparable to, like a great white shark. To have been able to tear, which is one of the most powerful bites on the planet Earth. It's up in the air whether or not that species is even around anymore in the alien universe, but hell of a bite to have been able to chomp down on this thing and to have tear the leg free like this. It was a single bite. It was not it did not look like a gnawing strike. It looked like it chomped hard and tore it off, and yeah.
Does this but as far as scale, does this match the creature we encountered?
Okay, I think.
Or is comparable?
Comparable is probably the best way to describe it.
Okay, delightful. Okay.
Probably about the same size. You weren't really able to
gauge exact, but it's comparable. Okay.
Yeah, you feel pretty confident that it's probably just like the creature you encountered on the ship.
She kind of, I think, will take her second to look it over. It's going back and forth between keeping her eyes straight ahead and then back down, just very quick glances, and then, yeah, that's probably it. How tall? We said it was over 6 feet tall, something like that, 6 or 7 feet tall. I don't remember how big you described it as.
6 or 7 feet tall. 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 Oh, you know what? That's a good point. 1 second. Because now
She was super
there's
tall.
one-
It like filled the doorway. That's what I remember.
I'm afraid.
Oh, that's a good point. I might have to amend the information I just gave you.
Cool.
Let me just check one piece of information because you just made me reconsider. Yes, there is there's an excellent point. Let's see here. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Amending this information. All right. It is not comparable. It is
Okay.
smaller.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it was a clean bite. It looks
Okay.
like it was broken and torn free. And Doc, you would get that too.
Well, now this just.
It looks like-
manners.
There are bite marks on it, which seem to indicate that that may have actually been the cause of the break. But the bite mark, oh man, your blood kind of starts to run cold a little bit, Tig, because the bite mark itself looks vaguely not from the indentation of the teeth marks that are in the boot leather and the flesh that remains. But the size and the diameter that Doc is trying to get down looks vaguely human-sized. Like a human mouth with sharp teeth did this.
Okay. Possibly the same thing, but smaller.
This, yeah, maybe a smaller version of it, possibly.
Or a person with some body modifications and
Wait.
a questionable appetite.
You saying a person did this? So
I don't know. Person sized.
it certainly seems that way, but the strength needed to do something like this is just.
A littler one. That's all I can think of right now.
Oh, great! So we've got a little people-shaped person with razor-sharp teeth and jaws that have been practicing on well-done meat all their life.
How'd it get in?
I'm guessing through the scrubbers, but
I'd
Isaac
turn-
would have a much better idea of that than I.
Yeah, it would kind of turn not away, but like with like kind of voice over the shoulder. Isaac, is that possible? For something to get in through the scrubbers?
Oh, we can't hear you.
You are muted. Uh-oh. This is Sam going, wait a minute. No, I'm not.
They're not software muted. They may be hardware muted.
Nope. This is Sam basically saying, wait, I'm not muted at all. Oh, damn it. My tech is on the fritz.
No.
Fritz.
There you go. Hi.
There he goes.
Hey,
Now you're muted again.
Now you're
and
muted
plugs
again.
it back in. Yes,
And
'cause
there
I
we
had
go.
to close the menu.
Gotcha.
All of which was to say about that. About that Isaac
Okay.
and the air scrubbers.
Yeah. You wouldn't have to roll, Isaac. This is something you would absolutely have information to, being the machine head of the group. The truth is technically something crawling in through the air scrubbers would kill whatever was foolish enough to get through the processing units to try to gain access. However, this colony's air scrubbers have been offline for a better part of a week. So, yeah, if something crawled through the air scrubbers, it could have easily made it past some of the systems that have been inoperable. It's conceivable, yes.
What am I looking at while I'm in there?
What are you looking at? All right, when you say you're in there, where do you mean? Are you in the air? Did you crawl into the...
I mean, you haven't heard from Isaac yet. I
That's true, but both the Doc and Tig had been staring at that hole like a hawk. So
They could have gone through it while we were talking. If
they
they
looked at
wanted
the.
to.
They both looked at the foot,
All right.
and last I think we narrated, I was closest. Mm-hmm. So if
Isaac-
nothing else, looking for the rest of the body was.
So then, if that's what's been happening, I need to know how far Isaac has crawled into the space.
Have I found a body yet?
No. You have found a streaking trail of blood. going all the way down to a junction point about 7 meters ahead of you.
How thin is the streak? On...
Not thin.
Okay, then it was dragged slowly. The slower it goes, the more blood has a chance to
I mean, yeah.
leave the body.
Also considering that an entire limb had been damaged, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I bleed like stink.
So, yeah, your instinct is also judging from the area of effect of the blood on the inner side of the air scrubber itself. Isaac, it doesn't take much for your imagination to imagine that whoever was dragged in here, obviously it must have been Ethan, that they were kicking and screaming for the first part and then stopped about halfway down the tunnel.
Okay. So 7 meters. How far? So there's a junction 7 meters in?
About 7 meters down. You can see it at the end of that shaft of light that's beaming off the lamp that you're holding.
Yeah. How far is that from the air scrubber? Like, what do these systems look like? Because I've been studying the air scrubbers.
So the air scrubbers, in effect, on the outside of where y'all are at, the scrubbers themselves are like filtration units that basically plug into air recycling units deep inside these junction points. The first part of the air scrubber, though, is the circulation unit up at the front, which could best be described as essentially a large, techie-looking fan that is just built into the side and then it pumps clean air back into the facility.
That was what I was working on with Ethan earlier today?
Yeah, Ethan had already replaced the interior units, and the two of you were up there basically installing a new fan into the wall unit because the old one had essentially become in need of repairs. It needed to be basically re-upped.
So is it correct to say that a humanoid-sized person would have relative freedom of movement through these because there isn't anything like a fan to block the way it's centralized? This is really intake and outflow.
Think of a Jeffries tube. It's very similar in space and size.
I was profoundly concerned you would say something like that.
Yeah, it's basically about the same size. It's a crawl space that you can move in and out of to access the interior parts of the environmental controls.
That is very bad. All right. We're going to need the rest of the humans to huddle very closely together, so I should probably tell my humans to huddle.
Okay, you inch your way back out, Isaac, and you lower yourself back down. It's just a small gap between your feet and the floor as you let go of the edge and turn around.
It's already gone. With Ethan.
Okay.
Could be arbitrarily distant throughout these pipes. There aren't a lot of points of stoppage for it. And there are many such intakes. How many are there in this room?
Air scrubbers?
Yeah.
In this corridor like this, there is an access point or an air scrubber. There's one air scrubber every 10 meters going down the corridor.
So if the remaining survivors do not congregate very far from those intakes, they are at risk of being picked off.
Right. Okay, so I think first order of business is we've got a lot of big, strong fellows with big, loud guns, so I think we should have them stationed near and around the air filtration system. If for no better reason than their firing will be a good alert to get people moving. So I'll orchestrate that. We need to get the crew together. We've got to start thinking about what it is these creatures are and how best to help these people defend themselves. And that might involve having a conversation with the administrator.
Is that a euphemism?
No, not yet, but I'm sure once things quiet down, we'll find a fun euphemism for it. I hope y'all don't mind me being a hypocrite. And he pulls out that one cigarette he had and just lights it.
It's been a while, Doc. But as soon as you light it and take a deep breath, you do bad things to your health, and you also lose a point of stress.
Tig fully just snorts at that while keeping like.
So make sure to subtract a point of stress.
All right.
And you hear in some distant other reality a voice of Game Mother saying, "Don't smoke, kids." I'm an asthmatic, and I'm telling you now, it's not worth it.
It's bad. I lose one stress, but I gain one shame.
You gain a point of shame. He rolls the dice of shame.
So I think I'm gonna have Doc try and rally up the mercenaries here.
Okay.
All right, so it's just kind of like one of those banging, like anything that he can find to get everybody's attention.
You don't even need to do that, because your approach, the moment you guys re-enter the cargo facility, people in here are on the edge because there is no light except for what's being shone in the lamps. When you re-enter, keeping in mind, Doc, that Albright has definitely gained a sense of status among the militia that is formed from the mining colony here. Everyone's kind of looking at you. Word has kind of spread that you're the new benefactor. You're the new money in town. And so when you re-enter, the first thing that happens is Kenneth approaches you. And he says, "Hey, what the hell is going on?"
What the hell is going on is that our scrubbers seem to be vulnerable. And
what does that mean?
It means that there's something out there that means to do us harm, and they have found that it is easiest for them to get in through our air scrubbers. Now, it was able to catch us unawares before because we did not know that that was a vulnerability that we had, but we do know now. And so, if you are able and you have a weapon, I mean for you to stand clear and away from the scrubbers, but in sight of it. If you see anything flicker, move, breathe, or whisper, I want you to start lighting up. Upon hearing such noises as gunfire, I need everybody else to prepare to move. I don't know the capabilities of these things, but from what I've been able to ascertain, it is vicious, nasty, and it can bite. This is a short-term solution. We are working on a long-term solution.
At about this point, as you were giving this speech, Doc, the subtle changes that have come over his expression as you've talked is slowly starting to cause you to take a more interest in what's going on with him than what you're saying. Ooh. Because you see the color drain from his face. And as you continue to talk, his eyes immediately dart up to the air scrubbers. And when he notices you kind of slowing down for a second, he looks at you and says, "That fucking thing is here?" Wait, which one?
Son,
did you see it? What did it look like?
Tig is nearby, has been kind of backing up. Doc goes, "How many are there?"
Son, I will tell you what I know, but I need you to tell me what you know and all of it.
There was a thing.
Yes. There's a big one and a little one. Is there more than that?
Little one? I don't know anything about that. There was a thing at the crash site. I didn't know there was a little one.
And so there is.
Or a comparably smaller one. Can't say it's necessarily little. But it's fast as hell, and it's hungry, and angry, agitated, unclear. You're gonna keep these people safe, okay?
Holy shit, okay.
Okay?
So, you know about it then?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Got any pro tips?
Son, you seem to be mighty afraid, so let me give you this short bit of reassurance. A couple of my colleagues ran into these things. Close quarters and unsuspected, and they dealt with it. These things live, these things breathe, and they can die.
There's more?
Unclear.
Where did you... There's more. Holy shit.
How many do you know about? Just the one?
Yeah, there was the one at the ship.
Mm-hmm. Why'd you ask which one then?
Well,
Yeah?
fuck it. All right, fine.
Thank you.
Good job, Tia.
Yeah, we were sent out to, we went with the administrator. We went to the, there's a
The down ship, yep.
Oh shit, you know everything.
Oh yeah, come on, let's keep spilling. We're trying to help you here.
All right, yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a down UPP ship out there. We detected it. The administrator detected it. I didn't know how long it had been out there, but we went out there, on one of the tractors, and the storm was nearby. We had to be quick. The administrator went inside, and he got some kind of containment thing, or like kept calling it containment unit, but took it out, and then Bishop was investigating the cargo bay, and then this thing came out of nowhere. It just leapt out of. I don't know where it came from. It just leapt out of nowhere, and it tore apart. It tore apart Nigel, and then it came for us, and then all of the sudden there was a sniper. There was a loud shot, and this thing got hit in the back. I thought maybe it was one of us, but we couldn't see where it was coming from, and it was clear that UPP had shown up. There was a UPP operative on site. It shot the thing. I guess that it tracked us. It was trying to. I don't know what happened, but it drove the thing off, and I ran inside, and I told the administrator what was going on, and he ordered me to cut into Bishop and deactivate him, and so I did the thing, and we got into the tractor and came back, and I guess I thought that was the last we were going to see of that thing. I fled, and I don't know where the UPP operative. I don't know where he was shooting from, or where what that was all about. But and then we left.
Well, shoot.
All right, well that one's dead. You're welcome. There's apparently another one. And it's here, and we need you to chill for a little bit to make sure that it doesn't get any more of your people, okay?
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Are you friends with Nigel? Good buddy? Worked with you a while out here on the colony?
I mean, he was a minor with the rest of us. He wasn't like
But he's someone you worked with.
Yeah, he was all right. I didn't know him that well.
All right, well,
I
you
didn't
don't
want him to
anyone
die.
else- Yes, exactly. You don't want anyone else here to end up like Nigel, so I need you and your guys to get your heads on right and make sure that none of the civilians get got, all right? Can we
Okay,
do
yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, this thing's in the air ducts. You said it was in
So,
the scrum.
we think so.
It could
Okay?
be anywhere. We have no power. The air is
know.
going to run out. Like,
I know, and we're working on it.
That's why we
And-
need y'all to keep a vigilant eye.
We need your help.
he looks like he's on the verge of panic at this point. He's just, okay. And he glances
I-
over at Shiko, and he seems to understand what's happened to her. And then it dawns on him, and he goes, where the fuck is Ethan? Oh, fuck. Where the fuck is Ethan?
Unfortunately.
Oh, fuck, no.
I grab him by the shoulder, and I really grip both shoulders. Get it together, okay? Get it together.
If you want to make a
Yes,
manipulation check.
I do. And also, I want to, if I can use through all of this, Tig trying to be very chill with this, if I can use banter
Yeah, you could banter him.
on an NPC, I am unclear.
I'll
how
let
to
you do
that.
it. Yeah.
Okay. To remove a stress die.
Yeah, because it looks like he is starting to slip over the edge.
Yeah. Just get it together. Get it together, Kenneth. Okay.
What's the frequency, Kenneth?
4, 5, 6. Okay. 3 successes.
Okay, you put him into the wall.
Yeah, just.
And he, bam, he hits up against the wall, and you just say, get it together, and he just, you seem like it's enough to shock him out of it, and he goes, you've got 2 stunts on that.
Oh, shit.
So,
Okay.
now, these are manipulation stunts, so,
Yeah.
so the target is impressed by you and will help you later, does more than is asked for, target doesn't demand any, basically, right now, Tig, you have total command over him. He is looking for someone to tell him what to do. So you just became General Tig in his eyes. He just goes, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
You've got this.
What do we do?
You're going to make sure that your people stay alive. Okay?
Okay.
That's your job.
Got it.
We might come back and ask for more help, but right now, that's what you're focusing on.
Okay.
Tunnel vision. All right?
And
Thank you.
You guys killed one of these things already.
Yes.
Does
They
the
can die.
administrator know?
Unclear.
I should contact him, right?
Nah, he's about to know.
He's about to know.
About
Your
that point.
focus is your people. Make sure they stay alive. And I want to use, so
Okay.
I have 2 stunts.
Uh-huh.
Right? I want a 3 success.
Yep.
I definitely want to bank a we'll try to aid you later in some way. And
I'm going to write that down.
And
Kenneth,
then,
if he survives, will aid
Yes.
Tig later.
thank you. This feels so mean. I want to take a does more than you asked for.
Okay. He says, I think maybe we should find some. I think maybe it's time to distribute a few more weapons to people. We have a couple of guns left in the armory that we hadn't touched yet, but they were like, they were company guns.
You know your people better than we do. You get them outfitted and you keep
Okay.
them safe. Okay?
Yeah, I'll see.
And that
You might
includes
need to-
you. You're part of your people. Keep yourself safe. Keep them safe. They'll keep you safe. All right?
Okay, I'll pick a couple of people we know we can trust in the crowd to keep things calm and to help us out. We need to gain access to the armory, and that's in the administrator's office.
Okay. We'll work on them.
Okay. I'll get to work.
Thank you. And he just kind of like takes a step back. He's like, that doesn't always work.
Doc just like passes the cigarette over to Tig.
Without even looking, Tig.
We'll pass it back.
As Isaac kind of cocks their head to the side, watching the two of you. Back at the front door of the colony, the wind is roaring as the storm is churning overhead. You are being kept in place right now, Martha, by a very powerful synthetic who's holding on to you while gripping one of the the walkway. Like the ramp has bars in the walkway to assist. He's gripping hold of that, and he's entering in an access code. And you just see there's no digital readout appearing, and amongst the roaring of the wind, he turns and shouts at you, "The power seems to be off. I can't get the door open. I can try to force it." It's actually kind of perfect that you're muted because of the roaring wind.
Martha says, okay, let me try something first. Can you put me in front of you?
He just positions you around and puts one hand on your side.
I don't know if I have a better shot at this because there's no power. But I have electronic tools, which is my hardware Comtech bonus. And I have my door thing, bypass.
Yeah, with no power, this would be a heavy machinery check.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what? Okay, so Martha tinkers with it for a second. She's like, nope, you go ahead and do it. Do your thing.
In which case, it's going to be an athletics. This is going to be, let's see, close combat, Stamina. This is going to be a stamina check. All right, so Bishop is going to roll stamina. He moves over to the door. He's going to have his data moment. Let's see if we can't pull this off. Keeping in mind that he is not an Isaac unit, so he is not...
An absolute unit, yeah.
He is not a... All right, he needs... Oh, I rolled a 6. Okay. I rolled a 6, 2 5s, and 3 3s. You see him, he's like, he turns to you and he says, hold on to this railing.
Okay.
And he helps you like grab hold of it, and he seems to wait to make sure. And you kind of wrap your arm around to get a good hook onto the railing itself, so you're not relying on your grip strength alone. And as soon as he lets go of you, Martha, you can feel yourself being pushed. You're certain that if you were to hop, you would leave the ground and stay hovering in the air, gripping onto this thing. That's how the gusts here are largely being... You are being protected from the worst of it, largely by the outcropping of the building itself. If the wind gusts are coming from the east, you guys are sort of in this indention of where the walkway is. So you're getting some blockage, basically. The building is running interference for you. If it wasn't, you're almost certain you'd be getting blown away by this point. You see Bishop muscle up, and it takes him a few moments, and you see him back off for a second and then put his fingers back in, and he starts working and working and working. And a few moments later, he starts to slowly pull these doors open. You can hear, even amongst the howling of the wind, the screeching of the metal, and he gets it pulled all the way open to about enough to squeeze through before he stops. And then, holding onto the door, he reaches out and offers his hand to you.
I grab it.
As he starts pulling you, you feel your feet starting to slip away from the ramp. And at one point, you feel yourself lifting off as he pulls you up, and his hair whipping all around his face as he kind of shoves you through the door, and you collapse onto the inside. Your breathing mask has almost been pulled off to the left side of your face, and you have to readjust it for a moment. He gets inside a few moments later and starts slowly closing it up as you see lightning strikes outside, these brilliant white flashes of light. And a few seconds later, the door... And he turns and looks at you without panting, showing no physical exertion at all, and very calmly says to you, I can't guarantee an environmental seal like this. If we open up the inner door, there's a good chance that we'll contaminate the air if we don't close it quickly. And I don't know how quickly I'll be able to close it.
Crap. Well, you have access codes. Is there any type of like backup power that we could try to boot up?
Mother can back up the power generators from the administrator's office if we can gain access. She should be doing that automatically, but it's possible there's been some sort of interference.
I think we're gonna just have to risk the contamination till we can get to a place where we can help get the power back on.
Understood. Bishop moves over to the door and begins pulling on that door as well. Three. 6, 3, 4, 3, 2. Again, screeching and grinding noises, which echo out down the corridor.
Here's what I think.
Not you. Why are you listening? My synthetic is like, hey, I can help with that.
They're a fan of the
Always
show.
listening.
Yeah. Make an observation check. Isaac, Tig, and Doc.
Ooh, okay, let's do it. Observation.
3 5s and a 4.
I love how they flirted with you. But then they were like, nah.
I've never succeeded in an
Just
observation
throw out
check.
the movie.
I'm about to start now, apparently.
Okay. That is a 6543526.
Okay, no ones on the stress die. So nobody else seems to notice it, but Doc, you were closest to the doorway into this large double door that leads out into the corridor, and you hear in a distant, like, shrieking of metal, like a screeching sound, echoing out from all the way down the corridor.
Tig!
I immediately rolled around.
There. And I'm just gonna point to the sound.
Can I hear it if it's pointed out to me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start heading that direction immediately.
You dash off in
Also.
that direction. Okay. Y'all dashing down the corridor. The only sounds is that shrieking of metal, and you can hear your heavy boots against the catwalked metal floor of the colony itself as y'all are dashing down the corridor. But up ahead, you think you see the large double doors of the airlock being pried open.
Oh shit! Yeah, fast as I can, running as fast as you can.
Martha, it's rather eerie for you as well, because what's clear to you as y'all are now inside the airlock is it is dark in here. And as
There
the
are
doors,
lights kind of flashing, coming in their
you
direction.
can
from our
see like
shoulder lamps.
what looks like lights that are kind of like swaying in and out of the crack that's starting to grow larger and larger as Bishop's pulling these two large metal doors open. But you can see and hear someone running down the corridor towards you guys.
I say to Bishop, get to the side.
He moves off to the side.
And I peek through the door.
You just see two flashlights running in your direction. The two of you, however, think you see Martha's head peeking out between the seals of the airlock door.
I think Tig kind of like slows just a little bit. Goes, Corporal?
Hey!
Oh my god!
I full on
Jesus.
thought you were one of the little.
Did you
little
come running with
biters.
us?
Did you come running with them, Doc? Okay. You catch up behind them.
Fully out of breath.
Yeah, okay.
You thought
I'll
I was
let
one of
them
the
in.
what?
There's another one. It's here. How'd surgery go?
Great. And I
Yeah?
step aside as if to present a new friend.
You hear a voice say, "Are you introducing me?"
Yes. This is
Oh.
my team that I mentioned.
He
This is...
peeks out between the cracks and says, "Hello?
Do you go
Hi.
by Bishop? Do you want a different name? Do you have a different name?
Well, it's true that I was given the name Bishop, but to be honest with you, I've actually always kind of liked that name."
Okay. This is Bishop.
Pleasure to have you with us, Bishop. I wish that our meeting could have happened during better times. With that door having been open, that's not going to cause any sort of worry now, is it?
It's actually starting to cause you both Tig and
Do we
Doc.
have masks on us?
Not
No,
on
I
you,
did
but
not- I
you're
did
not
not
wearing
bring-
them.
Yeah,
but
no,
they're on you. But
I'll
you
put it
all
on if we
start-
can feel it.
It's kind of like that sensation when you're too close to a campfire and you breathe in a little too deep and you.
Yeah, as soon as I start to
Little
feel
bit
it,
of
I
a
think
burn.
Tig will kind of like, oof.
Oh, crap.
Yeah,
Let's get this door. Can we... Is it wide enough for us to fit through yet?
yeah, you can squeeze through.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to squeeze through, and then Bishop...
Bishop's
And then-
explaining as Martha's squeezing through. Bishop explains pretty much what's just happened. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a new seal. And Martha ordered the door open.
That's okay. We got you back inside. That's good. Sorry. Tig Finch, Dr. Reginald Albright, and our friend Isaac. Nice to meet you. Glad to
Isaac.
have you back online.
He nods to you. Do you prefer to be called Isaac?
So far, yes.
He nods. It's nice to meet you. You're the first Isaac I've met.
You're the first bishop. I need to close the airlock.
May I help?
I would appreciate the assistance.
And gets on the other side. With focus on one door at a time, the two of you manage to get it closed. It is clear that Isaac has an advantage of strength. Isaac just starts. Bishop gets a little bit momentum going and then manages to get it closed. And just as a quick check, you move over and check the door and actually close up as tightly as you can get it. It's not going to be perfect, But at least it's not going to compound the problems right now. You're not going to have a toxic air leakage that's going to rapidly diminish how much time the colony has left.
Can we do anything with my mechanical cutting torch to, like...
Weld it closed?
Yeah.
Yes, but that would require you welding it again to open it. But yes, you can weld the edges if you wanted to start sealing it. That would probably take about half a shift worth.
That's it's a big time commitment. I don't know if we have time for that.
Respectfully, I think the CO2 buildup in the atmosphere from exhalation will be fatal long before the small additional
I have to concur
toxicity.
with Isaac.
All right.
I think,
Or the creature.
if I may, that our number one priority is to get the power turned on and to have a conversation with the administrator. And I can't help but figure a man like that would have the access to the powers close to him. So it may be all one trip.
I would like to fill in Martha and Bishop on the things that have happened since we have split. Just
Bishop
very
does seem
rapidly.
he does seem confused for a moment. He turns to Martha and says, "I thought you said the creature had been killed."
Yes, but
There's
there's
another
another one, apparently.
I only saw the one at the ship.
Organics reproduce.
Tig, Martha looks at you with a very disturbed look on her face.
When you say organics reproduce, Bishop considers that and says that would be an extraordinarily fast reproduction cycle, and would also imply an incredible rate of maturation.
Or organics reproduce, or sometimes they can be produced,
Altered,
recreated.
become something else.
Yes.
And I look at Tig again.
There's a possibility it's something completely different with the same bloodlust. It's just smaller comparably, as all we know.
I'm thinking from all the pieces that we have, and it's just a working theory. I ain't no detective now, but if the administrator was obsessed with this thing, I believe that there might have been some studying of this creature and an attempt to perhaps recreate it.
Bishop, are there any areas in the facility that have been completely off limits to everyone but the administrator?
Mainly the administrator's office. He's been very selective about who he has let in and out ever since he detected the SSV Novik.
Everything points there. I think we gotta go there.
I don't recall ever seeing a sniper that you mentioned. Though I did hear lots of screaming, and there was a comment made about a third person or a third active party.
Not sure. Some things don't quite line up. We don't have all the answers.
Look,
Shall
if
we
you would.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, please go ahead.
I was just going to suggest we walk and talk towards the...
Yes, I think we should keep
Absolutely.
moving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, where is the... Have I seen from the schematics as I've been working on the base where the power is?
So what you have also learned is kind of confirmed by what Bishop has told Martha, which is Mother is the quickest way to bring up a backup generator. She should have kicked it in automatically. So it's possible that Mother just needs to be... Mother should have her own backup system. It's always a failsafe with these Weyland-Yutani computer devices that Mothers always have a backup system for safety. So it's highly unlikely that she is offline. If she is, you do know that there is a generator located at the easternmost part of the building that could supply the colony with 24 hours worth of power and get Mother back up online if she is offline. But it would require manual startup on the exterior of the building.
Do we split?
Well, can that power be accessed independently of any overrides from Mother? Perhaps if an order were given, for instance, not to induce backup generation, would the exterior generator override that?
No, Mother would have final say. She can literally control. If Mother was offline, then Mother probably wouldn't have any say at all. If Mother was online, then Mother could actually dictate whether or not power was allowed into which portions of the building, no matter what generator was on.
See, is there any way to see if this is Mother doing as she's told versus just being down?
Not from here. We have to get to.
It sounds like all software architecture decisions aside, all circuitry leads to Mother.
Then
Let's
we
get to the
gotta go
office.
to the administrator's office. Let's go.
Do we? Is this an all hands on deck thing, or do we want quietly one or two of us to head to the backup generator just in case Mother is completely offline?
I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that Mother's online and working just fine.
All right.
I think we should also stay together because Bishop has access codes,
This is true.
like all of them.
It's true.
So we're gonna
Though-
wanna,
Gotta get power back up first.
yeah, exactly.
He gives a very kind of funny shrug. He says, I don't know how much good it's going to do without power.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
To the office then.
As we're walking, I'm gonna like sidle up to Tig
Mm.
and say, so I don't know if you've put two and two together yet, but it could be possible that your friend was experimented on and turned into whatever this other thing is.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it.
Okay. Got it. I just wanted to say it out loud because, you know, in the moment, if we have to shoot this thing, it could be hard for you to do that or to see that happen.
We don't know anything. We got people to protect.
Yeah. Actually, as we're walking, I'm gonna pull out my pad again
Okay.
and the file, the Dark Star file.
Okay.
I'd like to. I don't remember. I think we just saw that it was personnel. Yeah, I guess
Mm-hmm.
there's no more info to get from that.
No, there's more info.
Yeah?
Personnel files were only part of it.
Oh,
We only had like a minute to look through stuff.
Yeah,
That's-
you
before we
only
got
had a minute.
interrupted.
There is a lot of
Barely.
information on that pad.
Ooh, I'm gonna do another look at it.
Okay, it's easy enough to bring up.
Okay.
All of it is in Russian. Some of it's in Chinese, from what you can tell. But that's pretty typical. UPP is the Union of Progressive Peoples is typically made up of those are the two biggest powers that make up the UPP. As you're looking at a few of the files, you see one of them just says Data 1, Data 2. The other one says Project Personnel Files. And that's the three main folders that you see inside. This is all being translated, of course, through your data pad. Data 1 has what looks like log entries, as well as observations and scientific findings from what you can look at.
Ooh, definitely want to look at that.
About this point, you all reach the administrator's office door, as it is the first major door in the colony facility, located to your right. The light that shines that I described before that kind of guides people towards the administrator's office is, of course, dark. When you move up to the door itself, it, like the airlock door, is completely sealed. And Bishop glances over at you, and he glances over at you, Isaac, and he says, unfortunately, brute strength isn't going to be able to move this door. It has a secured locking mechanism in force. This was in case the administrator ever had to lock down the facility from within. It speaks pretty low of Wayland Yutani that they take more safety precautions for the administrator's office than they do the airlock.
What kind of locking mechanism?
He describes what sounds like a four-hooked mechanism on the inner barriers of the door. So when the door closes, there are these giant metal hooks that slide into slots on the other door and click into place. And they go straight down the sides. And he points at them. He's like, they would be located here, here, and here on both sides of the door, top and bottom. It's possible to cut through them, but it would take a while.
Isaac will look up and down the hallways for intakes.
Yep. There's one about 5 meters from where you're standing. It's not on.
It seems there's a more efficient, albeit hazardous, means of ingress.
I hate to admit it, but I think you're right, as Bishop looks up to see what you're looking at.
Hazardous in what way, Isaac?
The monster.
Isaac is suggesting we crawl in through the space located there to gain access to the administrator's office. Usually this is not an access point, but with the air scrubbers off, Isaac and I both will be able to access it.
Well, shoot, I don't like that.
What are our choices?
I'm gonna knock on the door and go, Administrator?
Ding, ding, ding.
You in there?
After a few moments of no reply, Bishop says, part of me was hoping that would work.
I was too. I would like to try one other thing just in case he's in there just not saying anything.
Okay.
I was hoping that would work because I found a wonderfully interesting biological sample here of a rather interesting type, and I was wondering if there's anybody that has claimed patent to it already, because I have wonderful ideas of what I might be able to do with it. And I'm just gonna try and bait him out.
Goad, yeah.
Apparently, my camera was like, we're done.
These eldritch horrors brought to you by El Gato.
Although I would normally totally recommend, and would totally recommend El Gato software and equipment, but tonight, not so much.
They had an attitude problem.
Yeah, it has an attitude problem. It's okay. Come on, calm down.
Oh, I got an attitude
The
problem.
camera's scared. You scared it.
Yeah, I don't blame it. All right. So, after shouting this out, after a few moments, nothing happens. It is eerily quiet, and nothing seems to happen.
Tig goes, all right, swings the rifle on her back and gets into like a boosting position underneath the vent for whoever wants up.
I will borrow the title Lord of the Uppies temporarily for the purpose of this lift only.
Okay.
Honored to help elevate you.
Isaac, make a heavy machinery check to remove the fan from the wall, as you have done many a time before.
Reach to the skies like the king you are.
That sounds like something where my maintenance track comes in handy.
Sam is about to get the RPG equivalent of a Half-Life 2 air duct crawl. It's going to be fun.
I don't know what that means.
But the audience probably does, and they are pitying you right now.
Oh, 2 successes though, so like I'm
Okay.
going to get to the scary efficiently.
With 2 successes, you can I'm going to bring this up now because one of the stunts you can do is +1 later to a related roll, if you'd like, or you can do half the usual time, break it permanently, act quietly, show off, don't need to roll again for this exact roll ever again.
Ooh, there are multiple temptations here.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to, for multiple reasons, take act quietly.
Okay. And you do. You remove it with gentle speed. You place it down again on the ground, and you are heft up into the air duct. A few moments later, Bishop follows after you, and the 2 of you crawl into a darkened space. You can see little motes of dust floating in the beams of light that shine in front of you. About 5 meters ahead is a junction point that branches off, which you can imagine is basically the circulatory system of the entire colony facility. There is an odd sound from time to time which could be just the building groaning from the sheer force of the storm that blows outside, the thunder that's rolling overhead. But Isaac, it's really hard to differentiate between those noises and what you might imagine to be something crawling down the spaces rather quickly. But there's no point in fretting about it now. You have one objective, and it's in front of you. And judging from what you remember of the blueprints, it's heading down to that junction point, turning right, which should take you straight into the administrator's office without too much fanfare. And that is where we are going to pause for our break. We will be back in 10 minutes. See you then. Welcome back, everyone. Right now, we are inside of a dark air shaft crawling towards the administrator's office. Y'all are pretty much on all fours, hands and knees, as y'all are moving down the air shaft. As you reach the junction, we're going to pause for a second because I realized I still need to tell everybody who won. I literally just asked the name, and then I was so eager to jump back into the game. Real quick, congratulations to Green Jeans 477. You were the winner of the giveaway. You will be getting a code to gain access to the Aliens Colonial Marine Operations Manual. We will have more giveaways coming up, so if you didn't win tonight, come back and watch next Monday night. We'll have another code for a giveaway, and we'll get that code to you. Isaac, as you reach the junction point, please make an observation check.
I'm great at those.
Yeah. Give yourself a +1 die, because you actually have... Bishop is right behind you and is also keeping a weather eye.
What kind of weather? There's a storm about.
It's a windy weather eye. It seems like the law of averages says that one day you'll roll a success.
I've rolled one successful observation check. I think it was last game or something. I have rolled one. It does happen.
Okay. Well, then
it doesn't happen this time, but it does happen hypothetically.
All right. When you make it to the junction point, when you look left, you just see a shaft that descends into darkness. It is just a little beyond the reach of the beam of light that you're holding. Is just the inky blackness of a powered down colony station. To your right, the light shines all the way down far enough to reach the administrator's office exit junction point, which is about a little over 6 meters away. So there's a soft glow that you can see at the very end, but it's not like the light is directly touching it. The distance is a little too far for the lamp, but it's enough that you can see the outline of an open air scrubber junction point. There is no fan waiting for you at the end of that. It looks like it is completely open and dark on the other side.
All right. Noted. I will look back at Bishop and scoot a little bit into the left side of the junction to give him room to go to the right ahead of me. For some reason, the idea of him being behind and seized and dragged off into the night when I've only just met him sounds like an outcome I wish to avoid.
Okay. So you basically call Bishop up closer to you?
If we're at a T junction and we need to go right, Isaac goes left so that Bishop can go right ahead of Isaac, and then Isaac will come up the 6 behind. Okay. Just switching the marching order. That's all. Okay. Since we clearly don't seem to need to worry about the cover on the other side anyway.
Okay. In which case, you guys are able to... You basically close off your distance, and you're able to sort of keep a lookout on... You're watching your 6 as much as you possibly can in this tight space. The two of you edge closer and closer towards the open air scrubber junction, or the portal basically, that leads into the administrator's office. And as Bishop finally sees what you're seeing, you hear him say in a very flat tone that you absolutely would know as the closest a fellow synthetic can get to sarcasm, which is, well, that's interesting.
The specific nature of which is to be determined.
The two of you just stare straight ahead for a few moments.
I haven't yet calculated any reason for it to be like that.
It does seem awfully quiet up ahead.
Do you think it ate him?
It's possible. In which case, he starts shining the light down, and at about that point, since it's no longer a passive check, you guys do in fact see spatters of blood on the inside of where y'all are crawling right now. It leads right between the two of you, droplets and some smears. You see at that point, when you look back behind you, you see what looks like a handprint on the wall. And it doesn't look terribly old.
Would it successfully approximate the hand size of Ethan?
That's very difficult to determine.
Fair enough.
It certainly could be, but the variables of who else's hand it could be also in play. You don't know the
Right,
hand
it's
size
not
of everybody else.
inconsistent
Right.
on first approximation. Cool. Supportive evidence, not dispositive. Understood. On Earth, leopards used to bring their kills back up into trees.
It's an interesting and somewhat disquieting metaphor to use. But you might be right. That could be what's happened here.
We need to find out. Please be careful.
You be careful too, Isaac.
Don't worry. I'll take care of you.
You see a smirk on his face, and he nods.
All right.
All right. Two of you continue.
Yeah.
All right.
Androids don't feel stress.
Okay. The two of you move closer and closer to the open portal. As you near the edges, your light begins to breach through the darkness on the other side. It touches nothing, which is not surprising considering how large and cavernous the room is. It's a 2-floor room with walled windows looking out over the colony. It doesn't surprise you that it's completely dark in here either, Isaac. When a storm like this blows in, storm shutters are pretty standard for colonies on worlds that have violent weather patterns or are prone to them. So you suspect that those storm shutters are probably closed to protect the windows, not letting any light in. When you reach the lip, the blood here has... You can see there's blood on the lip of the entry point. And at that moment, something stands out to you, Isaac, as it looks like there are fingerprints, like fingers, blood prints on the lip of the portal that you're about to crawl out of. Like somebody was hanging onto it or something. And when you move into the space, you have to hop down and land on a catwalk that's just underneath you. And you immediately shining the light around. A few moments later, Bishop just crawls out right behind you and lands next to you. The first thing you detect is, even though your your olfactory senses do not work like humans do, you are able to detect a dramatic shift in the air quality in here. You're able to detect when oxygen is unsafe, particularly as somebody who works in deep space and wants to protect the people that you work with. You're able to detect when there are shifts in cabin pressures. You can detect when there is poisonous gases that are leaking into a facility, that kind of thing. You're not sure what this is, but immediately you detect that the air in here is not safe to breathe.
All right.
Bishop gives you a look like he's also detecting that, and his brow furrows a little bit as he glances around. The storms are shuttered, and you can see a couple of lights are on in here. They look like lights from Mother. Computer consoles are lit up. There's a screen that's on the far end, and the Mother mainframe server, the doors partially, it looks like it's not completely closed, but it's not open enough for somebody to just walk into it or even squeeze through it. It's about that far open. And
Do
there
I see
are
any
bodies.
There. That.
Those people that were dressed in neckties and whatnot that are working the systems, one of them is laying on the ground in a pool of gore, and it's not just blood. It is things from their chest cavity partially laying out on next to them.
Oh.
It looks like something simply just tore at whatever it could get into and left the rest on the ground. Curiously enough, nothing looks, just at first glance, the way it's been left just splayed out to his left doesn't suggest feeding. It just suggests violent death. Bishop focuses in on that too as the two of you make your way around the catwalk and down the ramp. The place looks like it's been torn apart. Chairs have been overturned. You can tell that it looks like one of the screens is broken. Looks like there's glass all over the floor. You see a couple of shell casings that would suggest maybe firearms were discharged in here. Which raises the question how nobody heard it.
That. Yes.
There is a second body in here. The second body is nightmarish. It's somebody who has been thrown up against the computer console on their back. Like they've been shoved up against it and they're laying across their back. Looks like all the fingers on their left hand are completely missing. And it also looks like their throat has been removed utterly to the point where you can visibly see the spine. But that's not all, because their skin looks completely warped and changed. You see pale blotches and black spots growing all over and these veins streaking down. Their eyes have become milked over and slightly shrunken, and their teeth, it looks like a second pair of jagged teeth have begun to grow in front of their human teeth. The hands on their other side of their body, it looks like the bone has split out from the flesh that grew around their fingers naturally and has started to elongate to become some kind of claw. In other words, it looks like a mutation or transformation at some point. Roll me... Actually, I'm going to roll... While you're looking at that, I'm going to roll for Bishop here.
Yes.
If you'd like to roll for observation, you may as well, but this is what you can see visibly without having to roll. Bishop's not going to see it.
No, nor I.
Okay.
I would... I don't know an efficient way to get any record of my visual feed into the hands of the organics with us, but the doctor needs to observe this. It could conceivably be infectious. We have no idea of its etiology.
it seems like there's a lot of variables in play.
Up to and including the number of them. But we will be able to know more with power. Our tasks do not change, despite the variables.
Agreed. At that point, he continues to glance around, and you see the light shine off around. He says, I don't see the administrator anywhere. Perhaps we should investigate the room more thoroughly. It's possible he was dragged away, like the engineer, Ethan.
If you would like to begin the process of getting Mother to restore power, perhaps I can continue to take a look around. Secure the room.
I'm on it. And turns and heads towards the Mother unit, and you see him reach the area that's quarantined off for her mainframe and just starts pushing it open and walks inside and sits down in the chair and starts bringing and interacting with the Mother interface. You can see she has power, so it starts lighting up, recognizing him there. You continue to search around the room.
Mm-hmm.
As you move around the floors, you see more and more signs of blood, with no signs of who it came from, but you have a feeling that what you encounter on the second floor, the observation post where the sensors are found, you have a feeling that what you come across is a third corpse. There's enough of it there to suggest that it might be what's left of someone. There's also evidence of clothing, but it doesn't look like the administrator. But it looks like whoever this was died reaching for the armory, which is up here. You can see the door slightly ajar. There is a key that has been lodged into the lock to access the weapons in here. The person that was probably trying to get into it probably had their Michael Myers moment of trying to get into the house before the killer could get to them, and didn't succeed.
I understand the sentiment.
Yeah. The key looks like it's turned and the door is slightly open. Whoever this was is probably what's left of the person that was trying to get to a gun. When you move closer to the sensors, though, you find what looks like something that's very much out of place in this room. As you step closer to it, it looks like a small metal object that on top, both the top and bottom, are almost in the same shape as gears, like thick gears, but smooth. They don't look like an industrial old-fashioned gear itself, just the shape of a gear. And between the two of them are these metal rods that surround what look like 3 vials of glass that have been shattered. And across the top of them, written in Russian, you recognize the words biohazard, and you see a dark star located on the center of one of these gears.
Oh. Yes, I don't think I will let the organics in this room. Returning to what was most of a corpse, the one that was probably trying to get to the armory, that's where I'm expecting there to be some degree of blood pooling. How tacky is it? Timeline?
This probably happened around the time you all observed the storm was coming in. And
Okay. So then, unlikely, verging on impossible that it would be the creature in any way related to the creature that Tig and Martha met. That was kilometers and kilometers away at the time that this happened. I'm going to go to the door and at least let my friends know that Bishop and I are currently safe and that they cannot come in here.
Okay. How are you doing that? Okay. Y'all hear knocking at the other side of the door. It's incredibly faint. Like, you have to... It takes you a moment to think, did you hear something? And you leaning in.
Tig will finish let's let them know that we're still out here.
Isaac, you can barely hear knocking. You have to press your ear up against the metal door before you sense the vibrations and the sounds coming through of them knocking back.
I saw a video once of like a World War II veteran Morse code tapper, and the truly virtuosic speed with which they did that. I think likewise of when a different bishop unit was able to do very rapid things with knives. The two of those images together in my mind, I will at least attempt to initiate a rapid Morse code. I suspect that Martha or Tig might have training in such things.
If you are willing to spend a story point, I will allow the Marines to know Morse code. And
I would pitch to you that Martha is a communications expert, so...
This was my thought. that is the reason why I think Isaac would attempt this rather than some other
I think
thing.
I'm sold on that. Yep. I think I'm sold on that.
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah.
So Martha, you're pressing your body up against the door and listening closely. And you two can do some rudimentary communication right now with Morse code. Knocking back and forth to each other.
Toxic in here. Don't come in.
Roger that.
Also, just to clarify in the narrative, because before it gets asked, I'm going to go ahead and assume, because he was with y'all, I'm going to assume that O'Donnell is still with the colonists trying to keep everything in order.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows where he's at.
I appreciate that because I think I had dropped and I had him back on the ship for some reason, and that would not have been warranted. 3 bodies so far, no admin.
I relay this back to the other folks.
What do I mean by toxic in there? We've got our breathers. Would that help us in there?
I knock back. Okay for us with masks.
Undetermined. Broke biohazard vials. I'm trying to shorten the loop on this. So, I cannot buy a vowel.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some kind of biohazard in there.
Dark star.
Oh, that kind of biohazard. Okay, so no admin, 3 bodies. So this thing is just crawling through the air ducts, picking people off. It's really comforting. I'm gonna knock. What next?
Power.
Okay, so they're working on the power.
Be back soon.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go circle back to Bishop because last thing I want is something that can sneak up on things, splitting in between us.
You run into Bishop as he was on his way to get you. As you turn around and start heading down the catwalk, he stops at the base and he goes, "Oh, Isaac, I think you should better come see this."
I hope it isn't as concerning as what I saw.
I'm not sure what you saw, but I would be surprised if it was less concerning. Or perhaps more.
Oh no.
You see for yourself.
All right.
He brings you over. Mother is currently... It seems like she is in a low power mode, as it were, and is currently drawing power upon energy reserves. She's not doing voice interaction the way she normally does, because this is a slightly more advanced mother unit than the one you guys have on the Ilios, which is not saying much, because I think y'all's is a 6500 on the Ilios, which is one of the earlier mother systems. And you see text appearing, but you see he has opened what looks like a bunch of video files that have been saved since before the power went out. And he accesses them. And he's like, I've been trying to ascertain what happened here, as well as talk to Mother about getting the power up online. What I've been able to determine is Mother was the one that shut off the power. Something involving containment.
But are there any references to aerosolized biohazards?
Nothing biohazard, but there was reference to something unusual that I've never seen Mother. Well, I'll show you. He enters a couple of commands and says, Mother, please repeat explanation. Power. Why is the power off? Immediately you see reading across the screen something called Special Order 937. It says Priority 1. And it begins to list a complete lockdown, shutdown based on what seems to be an old protocol that you've never seen before pop up in a mother system. But the protocol simply states, ensure the return of organism for analysis, all other considerations secondary, crew expendable.
That must be an error.
I've never seen this special order before, and I'm not sure what it references. But it seems to have been triggered by this data entry point right here. Apparently the administrator was using the newly found power and the sensor systems to try to contact Weyland-Yutani headquarters on Earth. There's
Was
references...
he successful?
I have reason to believe he was, though there wasn't a reply sent. It seems like Mother went into an immediate lockdown. Judging from the logs, it would seem like the administrator had been trying for some time to reach headquarters, but hadn't had any luck. I think perhaps once he saw the storm moving in, he decided to take his chances once again. The good news is I should be able to get Mother to reactivate the power systems. But it could take the generators on outside to reboot in a timely fashion. We might just need to do both. But that's only the first part of what I discovered. The video footage is the other thing I wanted you to look at. And he starts playing it. You just see day-to-day activity in here. The administrator moving around, having conversations with people. At one point, he's yelling at the other people who are doing their jobs. Looks like tension in the workplace.
That seems unkind.
He seems agitated. Judging from the timestamps, you can see that this is around shortly after you all arrived. You even see the timestamp where you observe the administrator looking out the window, which you imagine is about the point when Martha spotted him watching you all. Then you see a few of the work staff moving about the stations, and it's boring footage. Nothing's really standing out to you. And because there's no sound, it's hard to determine what's going on. But then towards a timestamp that's getting a little closer to when everything started to unravel is when you see a sudden flurry of activity on both the first and second floors. On the second floor, you notice that someone is holding what looks like that small containment unit. You're not sure where in the footage that it came into, but the administrator is up there with that person. And the two of them, judging from what you can see, this is, of course, the universe of Aliens, so the footage here is like lines going. It's very analog looking, so you can't really get a good read on what's happening. But they both look quite agitated. The scientist looks like he is starting to freak out. There's some kind of conversation happening. And then you see on the screen lockdown in effect. Whereas Mother orders the lockdown. And at about that point, everyone scrambles from the second floor to the bottom floor. And when they do, you watch the administrator as he places that Dark Star containment unit that he was holding. He places it rather carelessly on the sides of the console. And you see immediately as he heads down there, it falls. But it doesn't break, from what you can tell. But there is a light blinking on it, rapidly.
What is his affect as he goes downstairs?
He looks like he's just as hurried and desperate as the rest of the scientists. And you see them try to gain access to the mother mainframe, and they cannot get the door open. The entire group of them try. You see them trying as hard as they can to pull the mainframe door open. But each of them only gets it open a little bit, and they cannot gain access.
They did not think the leopards would eat their face.
Is that what you say out loud?
Yes.
Bishop looks at you curiously and goes, "Do you think there's a leopard in the colony?"
I don't think this is a leopard colony, no. But I do think they thought themselves immune from predation in a way that was clearly not warranted.
The time elapse as you're saying this. You're watching it, of course, the events playing out. You watch all of them starting to become more and more agitated. You watch them start behaving unusual. One of them withdraws into the corner, bundles up on himself, and stops associating with anybody. People stop talking to them. Eventually, you see somebody start pacing back and forth. One person grabs a chair eventually after an hour and throws it across the room. And you just see it start to unravel. And all of them begin to become more and more agitated and violent until finally the administrator looks like he lunges at one of the scientists in just a sudden moment. Nobody in the room tries to stop him. There's a struggle, and the administrator bites into his neck. And you see the struggle happening, thrashing. It doesn't look like a human that's trying to fend off an attacker. It looks like the zombie apocalypse.
Someone told me about that.
You see the administrator tear free this person's throat. As his body lays quivering, the administrator takes a moment to stare straight up at the ceiling and work whatever it was that he tore off with his teeth, work it around in his mouth until he gets it into his gullet. Staring straight up at the ceiling, almost like a bird that's trying to eat something that's just too big for it. And then he starts eating his fingers off. About 45 minutes or so pass, and the behavior begins again. And you just watch the cycles of violence, but what's curious is you're starting to watch a transformation coming over the administrator. And as you are watching this, you hear Bishop say, "I think we know who our second creature is." And as he is saying that, you're watching the administrator rip the insides out of one of the scientists who, shockingly, even though you find him laying on his back, doesn't immediately die, but strangles the administrator at the same time as the administrator is goring him and tearing him apart. It takes a few moments before he finally flops to the ground. And even then, the human tries to crawl towards the administrator before he becomes still. Finally, you see the last piece of the footage you were looking for. You see a person going for the guns upstairs. Perhaps the only person in the room that's still reacting rationally. And his death is nothing short of just absolute bloody, gory disgust. It's not predatorial instincts at all. It's just malicious, violent death. Tears this person apart. Before, when he's done, the administrator looks different. His limbs are slightly longer. His hands are pointed. His head looks like it's ballooned up to the left side, like it's swollen. Most of the hair is missing from the top of his face. His jaw looks slightly elongated. And loping on fours, he rushes over towards the air junction and rips the scrubber right off the wall. You can see sparks as the wires and steel are torn, and he crawls into the space.
With blood on his hands.
With blood on his hands.
Calmly, but quickly, Isaac will run, slide up to the door, and start knocking. The admin is the monster.
You all hear the frantic knocking at the door at this point. It's a little louder than the last time. And Martha, you have to press your ear up against the door again and make sure you heard that right. But Isaac is repeating themselves.
The admin is the monster. The admin is the monster. The admin is the monster. Beware, beware, beware. The admin is the monster.
I think Tig, kind of just sort of hearing, doesn't decipher it, but just looks at Martha and goes, I don't know what they said, but that does not sound good.
What's the tapping? I didn't take
Martha
pig
turns
Latin
towards you two, slowly, her eyes huge. The admin is the monster.
Are we talking about in terms of morality, of the things that they have done, or are we talking...
Beware, the admin is the monster.
All the above, Doc.
Oh, well, shoot.
Martha's pulse rifle is now front.
Oh, yeah, immediately. I think in tandem, they both...
Yeah.
Does that mean that is the toxicity in there that one that would make us like the Pale Man? And if that is the case, have we been exposed to it? If Isaac has made their way there, then the air could certainly make its way here.
Question for the GM.
Mm-hmm.
How much time would we be able to gauge has passed since this room went into lockdown? Is that something that we've been aware of? Like, when the storm started, like, the last time we saw the admin outside of it, like...
I mean, you guys haven't seen the admin since...
Yeah.
So it's impossible to tell from the
That's true.
outside.
That's true.
However, Isaac and Bishop both have access to that information
Yeah.
inside.
I know, I'm just trying to see what we can put together out here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cause any panic. It's just if we've been at all compromised, then it is our duty to make sure that we stay isolated and quarantined.
Well, if we've already been exposed, then what's stopping us from taking out the creature? do some good before we go out.
Yeah.
Are you feeling particularly monstrous at all, either one of you?
I think they kind of like exchange glances, maybe. No, I'm feeling right.
No more than usual.
I'm also feeling pretty good, but how can I trust that? I'm sorry. I'll let y'all do the marine thing. Just let me know if you need me.
I mean, we got one down, and this one we actually have personal, less than pleasant experience with, so.
Well,
One more.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my last question is, if the admin is the monster, if I recall correctly, that would mean that Mother is registered to the admin, which there is no longer.
Can you, to Martha, can you ask, I don't know if Isaac's still there, can you ask them, I mean, everybody's got a tracker.
Right. Yeah. Go up and start knocking. Can you track admin?
Wait.
Okay.
They said to wait.
Back to Bishop.
Okay.
Does Mother have enough power for trackers at this stage?
Trackers. You see his eyes light up for a moment. And he says, "You're right. The administrator would still have his PDT chip installed. We should be able to track every movement he makes if we can get Mother back online. I can bring up auxiliary power. It's not going to be enough, but it could turn on at least emergency lights and give us an internal readout of the PDT chips that are active still, assuming he hasn't torn it out."
That is critically important. The rest of the power is as well, but the organics outside are right. Knowing the location of the admin, if at all possible,
I'll
should
see
be
what I can
first
do.
priority.
He goes over to Mother and starts, "Mother, please activate emergency auxiliary power." Nothing happens. He answers the command again. And you see Mother say, "Confirm." Rebooting power in 5, 4, 3, 2. All down the corridors, emergency lights start to activate. You see lights popping on. All of these lights immediately turning on all around all of you. Everybody outside the doors, please make observation checks.
Alright, let's do this.
What success? I finally succeeded observation check.
No success. 1 on a stress die.
2 successes, 1 on a stress die.
I love this.
Okay. I need everyone who rolled a 1 on the stress die to immediately make their panic checks.
Okay. How many dice do we roll for this?
It's a single D6, but you add however many points of stress you've accumulated to the D6 roll.
Okay, make it low, baby. Make it low. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, no. 7 is my total.
7 is your total. Nervous twitch. Your stress level and the stress level of all friendly PCs within short range increases by 1.
That's gonna be a 5 for me.
Plus a total? 5 total?
Total 5.
Okay. You gain an extra point of stress.
Hold on. No, hold on. No,
What's
both
that?
of those are successes.
What's that?
Those are their checks, not
On the
their
panic?
panic table. Isn't it 8 or under? You're okay. You don't have to roll for the panic table.
Yeah,
No.
I rolled a 5 plus a 2.
If you roll a 1 on the panic die, you
Yeah.
It
panic.
automatically happens, yeah.
If you ever roll a 1 on the panic die, you immediately roll on the panic table. And by rolling on the panic table, you take a single D6 and add your stress points to the roll.
What's the... Yeah.
It's not hitting a target number or anything. Anytime you ever roll the panic dice and one of them comes up as a 1, it is an automatic panic roll.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I gain an extra stress
Because Martha looks like she's like keeping it together, but her you can see she's fidgeting a lot. You can see a little bit of sweat has started on the side of her face, and her breathing is starting to get rapid. She's just so that's going to bring a point of stress to Tig and Doc, and Martha, you also gain an extra point of stress.
Jesus Christ. Wait,
Yep.
that wasn't a second extra, right?
That was yes, it was. That was the second. Oh, no, because I ruled that you can only gain a single point of stress. I house ruled to keep this from spiraling. I house ruled that you can only ever gain a single point of stress from an action unless you do something that specifically says otherwise.
Okay.
So I'm not going to let you spiral in the panic table. But if like you had gained a point of stress and then opened full auto fire with a gun, then I would have given you a second point of stress from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Doc's panic is manifesting in a really bad idea.
Okay.
And he's going to knock on the door to Isaac.
Okay.
Isaac, I'm not gonna be any good with the Marines with their hunting excursion. And I don't know if we have been infected or not, and I think that is where I would be best suited.
I have to stop you there because the result of your observation check is coming into play now.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
We still succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot we succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So all three of you succeeded.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got 2 successes.
Okay.
What stunts can I do on observation? Oh, I don't like any of the questions I can ask with the observation.
Yeah. All right. So the 3 of you who succeeded on the observation check, as y'all are standing outside, you have a question, Caitlin?
Oh no, sorry. I was saying one success. Just trying to remind myself that I rolled a success.
As you're saying this into the door, the 3 of you feel it as much as you hear it. But as you turn, as the lights are switching on behind you, as the light switches on, the administrator, he is about 8 feet away from you, staring at the 3 of you. And on sight of him, the moment you see him, you see, as I described, his form is shaped like something that is in the middle of a transformation. One side of his body is grown a little bit larger than the other side, like it's trying to force itself into another state. And the right side of his head has ballooned outward and become bulbous, almost like all the blood in his body is completely flooded to just one corner of his skull and caused it to expand outwards. His eyes have shrunken, and to the point where it's almost difficult to understand how he can be using them right now in any meaningful way. His jaw looks slightly misshapen. His shirt is completely torn off. His skin color resembles something very similar to the patchied white skin of the pale man that you saw in the vessel. Upon sight of him, each of you immediately gains an additional point of stress.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And then I need you all to make an initiative roll.
Ooh, no.
That's a 10.
That's a good initiative roll.
What even is
3
my
here.
initiative? How do I roll I've avoided it for so long.
Do we roll
D10.
stress die with initiative?
It's just
No,
a D10.
it's just a D10.
Okay.
Normally it's cards, but we don't have access to that right now. So, Doc, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 1.
You are going first, Doc. Let me roll.
Oh no!
I'm sorry. No, high is better. You're going
I
last.
thought it was okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Sorry, my man. Sorry.
Okay.
That's when Ruby Rod just shows up and says, "We all gonna die."
Who?
Yeah. One of the greatest characters in the history of sci-fi.
I have a quick question before we get
Yeah.
into this comment because I do have
Yes.
this. I have one stunt with my observation, and the stunt that
Okay.
I would like to use is, how do I get in the administrator's office?
That would be the air duct.
Yeah, that's kinda what I
as everybody
figured.
crawled through.
Yep. Okay, let's go maximum stupid.
Because you spent a stunt to do this. I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up because as a doctor, you would know this immediately. You would have put 2 and 2 together. So crawling into that particular air duct, whenever you get to the junction or turn point that's going to get you into the room that they're in, is going to immediately expose you to whatever air is probably floating around inside. So you would know that as part of the risk that you were about to take. I just wanted to make you aware.
Okay. So that was the panic. That is, yeah. We'll see how this plays out.
I back any choice you make here as a player noir.
It's gonna get dumb. We'll find out.
Okay. Hold on one sec. I have to roll for the administrator.
Oh my gosh.
The administrator rolls a 2.
Okay. Good for us.
All right. Top of the round. You have the initiative. You were successful in observing him. You're not being ambushed.
Ooh.
The administrator is about he is essentially across the corridor from you at one of the junction points. He is within short range. What would you like to do?
Short range puts range weapons at disadvantage, or is that immediate range?
For ranged attack, ranged fire, short range is nope. There's no negative or positive modifier for it.
Okay. How much? Okay, so there's short actions and long actions. This is something that Caitlin knows off the top of my head. I know Morse code SOS. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
What would you like to know for
1, 2, 3? I just want to know if I can, if that can be if I can shoot and do that as I like if I
No.
pound on the wall SOS and then.
No, a slow
Shoot,
action would be making a ranged attack. Shooting a firearm is a slow action, and if you were going to tap out Morse code quickly on the door, that would be a slow action as well. You'd have to choose between one of the two.
I see. Okay, I'm just gonna shoot. We're gonna
When all
fire.
else fails. All right.
That might provide some degree of.
Yes, this is true. This is true. I don't know how much you can hear though if you're nearby. Use
already
holds
had
to
the
wait.
weapon out?
So
We'll
assume
find
you
out.
left. I did.
You
It's been out the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to take a fast. You can take a fast action to aim if you wanted to, but you do not
Yes.
have to.
I want to do that.
Okay.
What does that give me?
Aiming, I believe, gives you a +1 to the die roll.
Okay, cool. Let me grab. Okay.
Aim shots +2.
Amazing.
You'll get
okay.
a +2 to the die.
Here we
It
go.
is dim light, so it's actually going to be a +1 because dim light gives you a -1
Okay.
to your attacks, and you bring that assault rifle to bear.
I do.
How do you?
Okay.
Let's do it, Tig.
Come on, Tig. Oh my god. I'm gonna push the roll.
Okay, gain a point of stress.
And then it's the full pool all over again.
Plus whatever stress.
Plus the new
whatever-
stress.
Yeah.
Okay. Two successes, no panic.
Awesome. Okay, so the damage on that gun, I think I gave it to you.
Yes, it. Down.
It should be 2, I think, right?
I think so.
2, and you rolled 2 successes, so a
Yeah.
total of 3 damage. All right, 1 second. Everyone in the facility is going to hear that. All
Okay.
right. Ooh.
I wanna get its attention away
Yeah.
from my friends.
The thunderous roar of that auto gun opening fire. Tig, you just level the thing at, you aim down your sights, all of your training coming right into this single moment. You squeeze the trigger, the thing bucks like an angry horse, and you open fire. Bullets tear into this thing, slamming it back up against the wall, and it emits a screech. On the other side of the door, y'all, barely hear the gunfire.
That's what I was worried about.
It echoes down through the air ducts, and that is mostly where you're hearing it from. But you hear the telltale signs of auto fire on the other side of the door. And Bishop immediately shoots you a look of alarm. That's going to be that action. Caitlin, going down the list, next up is actually going to be Martha.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna open fire on this thing.
Okay. It's the same stuff. If you want to aim, that's +2 to your aimed shot, -1 because of the dim light.
The pulse rifle, I believe, has an automatic +1, does it?
Yes, pulse rifles, Colonial Marines, they get an automatic +1 to their machine guns. They are pretty quality pieces of equipment. So you're going to get a total. So you'll have a total of +2 to your roll.
Okay, and then it's ranged combat, right?
Yes.
All right.
And don't forget to add your stress die to the roll.
3, and then 4 stress die.
Oh my goodness. That it could be both a fantastic and terrible thing.
Okay. I have a 1 on a stress die, just 1.
You're going to panic.
And then I do have 1 success.
1 success. How much? And so that does 2 damage.
No, I have 2 successes. Sorry.
2 successes.
1,
Okay.
2 successes.
So don't forget too, like you can do the extra damage, but don't forget that when you get any success past the first, you have the option of telling me you want to stunt at any point.
It's like you can pin down the enemy, you can knock it down.
For
make it
ranged
drop
combat,
stuff,
you can swap initiative. You can
Agility.
opponent makes well in this case that wouldn't be the case. Drops a weapon, knocked prone or pushed back. And if you were using auto fire, you could actually hit an additional target for base damage, but there's only 1 target, so there's no need for auto fire. Otherwise, you can just do an additional point of damage.
So it says pin down enemy forces panic.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to. This isn't a human. You're not going to be able to. I'll go ahead and tell you now. You're not going to be able to make this thing panic.
Got it. Well, knockback or prone could be
This is what's
helpful.
left of the administrator. Yeah, you might be able to knock. You could probably push it back or knock it prone.
Or +1 damage.
Or +1 damage. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna just do more
Damage.
damage.
All right, let me roll his armor. He shouldn't have any, but he does. All right, so it's good that you did more damage because I did roll a single success, which is going to nullify a single point.
Okay.
So you take from 3 down to 2. Again, bullets slam into. I mean, y'all open up. The 2 of you are a firing squad in front of this thing. Just the machine guns thunder in front of you. You see this blackened, reddish ichor splat out from his back against the wall behind, sparks lighting up as y'all start to squeeze into the clips. You rolled a panic die, Martha.
Yeah.
On that attack. So
looking.
unfortunately, 2 things happen. First, you have to make a panic check. Second, your clip goes dry.
Oh well, maybe it's good
You
that I
empty
got
the
a
clip.
9 total on my panic roll.
Okay, then you are definitely going to panic again. A
Well,
9.
Yeah. A 9,
Drop,
which is
drop
item.
Whether by confusion or realization that you're all going to die, you drop a weapon or another important item that your stress level increases by 1. But
Jesus Christ.
your stress level already increased by 1 because you failed the panic check, correct? Did you already go up by 1?
No, I'm still
Okay,
at
then
4.
then instead of gaining 2, you just gain 1.
Okay.
Because I only ever, I'm not letting, I have reduced the lethality of the spiral
Okay.
in campaign play.
Okay.
You let out a scream, Martha, but as soon as the gunfire stops, you hear click, 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 and the gun, and you just drop the gun immediately. It swings off of your shoulder and clatters to the ground. You've never seen anything like this before in your life. But what terrifies you and causes you to almost lose your cool and drop your gun is after you and Tig open up on this thing and shoot it, it goes bouncing up against the wall, takes a second and goes, and on its action, it's going to lunge at all of you. I'm going to roll to see of the 3 of you who it attacks. I'm going to say right,
out
so
here.
1, 2, 3.
Please
Get
come
in
for
there,
Jake.
Doc, please.
Please get me. Please.
I rolled on a d6, and I'm having it. So 1 is Noir and 4 is Noir. 2 is Eliza, 5 is Eliza, and so on. I rolled a d6, and I rolled a 4.
Yes, your boy!
Stop it! No!
So I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll on the creature's attack table now.
Let's
Boo.
go.
I got you, Boo.
All right. I have to now, as a GM, I just want you all to know I randomly roll to see what it attacks, what it does. I have no idea what it's going to do. So I'm going to use, it moves at a speed of 2. The administrator clears the distance and gets to all of you right away. I'm going to roll a d6. And I roll a 3. Throw. The abomination grabs the victim and tries to slam them into the nearest hard surface. Roll the attack using 9 base dice with a damage of 1.
Ooh.
If the attack hits, the victim lands prone at short range from the abomination and drops any hand-held items and must make an immediate panic roll.
Gotcha.
So I'm rolling 4,
Bad roll.
6,
Manifesting a bad roll.
8,
alright,
9,
it's a
9
what?
base
No
dice.
successes. No successes.
Manifesting with you.
No success. Yes, no successes.
We gonna be okay.
No
We gonna be like, hold my hand.
No successes.
On 9 dice, I rolled 1 success,
Woo!
Okay, I got you though. I got you.
which means you're going to only take 1 damage from
only
the
got
attack.
1 hit point, right?
I got 2 hit.
Oh yeah.
The
I'm
thing-
still up.
See, that's one more than you need.
It charges forward, it grabs you, Doc, lifts you off the ground, screeching at the top of its lungs. It does not sound human. It sounds wholly alien. No pun intended. Slamming you against the bulkhead and screeching. You see it hurl Doc short range. It hurls him about 6 meters. He goes flying through the air and slams into the ground and rolls. You're going to take a point of damage and make a panic check. Roll a
Alright.
d6 and add your stress.
All right. So I rolled the D6 and I got a 6 on it with my panic. That's 7, 8.
8. Tremble. You start to tremble uncontrollably. All your skills of agility are dropped by -2 until the end of the panic.
All right.
So you have a -2 on all your agility checks. As you start, as you hit the ground and roll, it takes you a second as you feel like the air has been knocked out of you. And that is going to be, it's now your turn, Doc. You're on the ground. You're prone.
I think Doc is gonna struggle to his feet and go. From the feel of its hands, it's got a hardened exterior, so y'all gonna need to focus your fire on one location rather than spreading the spray.
You can
And
get
that's-
about half of that out.
Okay, he's just gonna say focus fire,
Okay.
and that's gonna be the command action.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, hold on. Is the command action, that is a slow action, is it not?
Let me take a look. I hope it's not.
I'm almost certain it is, which you can do, but it means you will not be able to get up. You can only pick one of those.
Wait, give orders. Yeah.
You could give orders, I believe, is a slow action.
Yeah.
All right, I will do that. I believe in my team.
Okay. On the ground, you just roll over into your stomach and stare up.
Focus fire. Hard exterior. My body hurts.
All right. So before we go into the next round, give me some actions on the inside of the room. What's Isaac doing? Bishop is going to follow your lead on this.
Isaac heard the fire, and when I described them for the artist, I described them as a certain sort of built, as Simone Biles, but a touch taller, and I would like to invoke that as I run up, grab the edge of the scrubber, and muscle up on in
Yeah.
to try to get to my friends.
If anybody was watching this, they would see the inhuman power of you propelling yourself up off the ground, like Steve Rogers just leaping straight up right towards the vent. You grab hold of it and pull yourself in, making a vertical leap of about 5.5 feet straight up, grabbing onto the side and just pulling yourself into the corridor and just rapidly moving and turning left. That's going to take us to the new round.
Real quick.
Yep.
So with command, with each success I can give to someone else.
Okay.
So that's gonna be 3 successes to Tig, please.
Okay.
My goodness.
I'm
All right,
so proud
Tig.
of myself.
Okay.
It's the top of the round. So, Tig, you've got 3 bonus dice.
Holy freaking moly. Okay. Let's see. Do I have enough? I do have enough dice. Okay. We're taking fire. She's, I think, just fully going to, like, scream at it. She wants to try to get its attention to open fire.
Okay.
Okay. Holy shit. Here we go.
Keep in mind, though, before you roll these dice, it is no longer at short range. It is engaged. It's right next to you. It just
it's
threw
next to me.
Doc. Yeah.
Oh,
so you're at.
yes,
you're
it came up.
So you're actually at negative. No, wait. Is for firearms. I think you are at a -3 to the roll.
Can I short action to move away? Can I, like, step back?
Yes, but that is going to be a mobility check because you're right next to him.
Can I still fire after that or not?
Yeah, you can make a fast action mobility check, but you're not going to get to aim.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got those 3 successes. I mean those. Yeah. So you're good.
Mobility.
So you can use your so you can use those 3 successes on the mobility check to get away, because it's on your next roll. Mm-hmm. So yes,
it has to be immediate.
It's on the next roll, isn't that correct, Doc?
Given the order in combat, slow action +1 for every success when target rolls for commanded action. My commanded action
your
was
commanded action is
fire.
to open fire.
Okay.
So no, you get to keep those. Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Amazing. Here we go.
So make a mobility check.
Let's make mobility. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2 successes. No stress dice.
Okay, you leap back. You immediately look back. As soon as you do, you get its attention, and it just its head just snaps towards you.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna fire. So it's no aim. So that's 3. 3 from Doc. Okay. Come on, Tig. Only 1 success. That was so many dice. Only 1 success. All my panic dice are good.
Okay, so you're gonna hit it. Let me roll its armor.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna absorb 1 point of that, so 2 points of damage becomes 1 point of damage.
It's not nothing. And if it looks at me, if I've got its attention, that's great. That's perfect. I love that.
It is completely focused on you right
Thank
now.
God. Okay.
Next up is gonna be Martha. Its back is to you. It is running towards. It looks dead set on absolutely killing Tig.
Okay, and I know from that command to focus. It has armor, so go for like the neck or the head kind of situation.
Shoot it where you see bullet wounds. Focus fire on wherever you see it hit.
Got it. Well, I dropped my rifle, but I always have my pistol on me. So I pull out my pistol.
Yes, you do. Okay.
And let me look at that. Okay, so I pull out my pistol. I'm gonna aim and shoot at it with my pistol.
It's at engaged range with you, but with a pistol, I believe you get a +3 to the roll.
Oh shit.
Oh, wait.
Because if I remember correctly, pistols at point blank range are rifles at point blank range not so easy. Pistol at point blank range a little easier.
Okay. I'll take it. All right. Okay.
And if you take the fast to aim, does that adds the additional?
No, because she had to spend her fast action to draw her pistol.
To draw the right. I forget about that.
Yeah.
So 3 for the pistol, and then this is ranged. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all these damn stress die.
Yeah, roll those stress dice.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I'm seeing no stress, but lots of successes. So,
Okay.
including on the stress die. 1, 2, 3, 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay,
Yeah.
so the pistol does a single point of damage.
Yep. But
What would you so let me ask you this. It's lunging at Tig. Do you want to do extra damage? Do you want to perhaps knock it prone? What would you like to do?
I want to knock it prone. I don't want it to
Okay.
lunge at my friend.
Okay. So you are going to be able to knock this thing prone, and then you can use you still have 1 success to burn for
Then
an
that-
additional point of damage.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to get knocked down. You basically cap its knee from behind, which is going to cause it to stumble.
Okay.
I'm going to roll its armor. I rolled 2 6s, and it absorbs the last 2 points of damage into its back.
Okay. Well,
It's okay. You knocked it down. That's good.
it's down. It's down.
Yeah, it stumbles to the ground, and let's see. That was Eliza, and then
Then
it's the
Isaac
creature's
would
turn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Isaac's still
Creature's going to go next. He's going to make a mobility roll to get up. Oh, wait. He can... no, because he's got to use a slow action to get up. Oh, but he's got a move of 2. I think he still has to make a slow action to get up. And he... oh, that's right. But because with a move of 2, he can actually do... Yeah. Usually requires a roll. Okay, he's got to make a quick roll to get up. Okay, he makes it. Yeah, I rolled 3 6s.
Dang it.
I'm glad that wasn't on the
down.
attack roll, though. So the creature, you see it buckle and go down, and it just collapses to the ground. And then it starts pulling itself back up. And Tig, you see your life flashing before your eyes as this thing lunges at you. And just as it's about to reach out for you, its head explodes right in front of you. Just pops, busts. And you are knocked backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Your eyes are adjusting, Martha, as you see an after image of a shot, like a bolt, just right past you and slam into this thing. From down the corridor, you're not sure where it came from, but it was sort of off flanking to the creature, not too far from the combat as it was happening. And you see this creature just stumble for a second. Its head is completely missing from the neck stump as its arms drop limp to its side. It hits its knee and just wobbles for a second and just falls over. And at this point, your back is against the wall, Tig, as this thing is just lying dead in front of you.
I look up. I look up. Can I see where the shot came from?
Make an observation check
Oh God. Okay.
at -3.
At -3.
Can I look too?
Yes,
Actually,
make an
no.
observation check.
Never mind.
Okay.
I don't want to roll anything
Okay.
until I have less stress.
I'll give it a try if I can.
Yeah, you're also at -3. No, actually, Doc,
Minus-
you'd be at -4.
Yep, bring it up.
You said there was like
Okay.
a Martha had was trying to regain vision with an after image. Does that
Yeah, like somebody, like she was staring right into a light bulb and somebody just shut the lights off. All of a sudden, you can see the after image of the light bulb.
did that affect Tig as well?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm only rolling 3. Okay, so good news, bad news. Good news is I have 1 success. Bad news is I rolled 1 on my panic.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what what happens here.
Oh, you see what you saw, and that's what makes you panic.
Yeah, basically. What'd you roll, Tig?
1 success, no panic. That was 4 panic dice and 2 regular dice.
Doc, your mouth drops open because you think your eyes are fucking with you. Tig, you stare straight ahead, and for a second you don't know what you're looking at. But the air in front of you moves, and all you hear is...
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me right in the month.
And that is where
Caitlin's
we are
trying to be normal
stopping.
about this.
That is where we are stopping tonight's game.
Yes!
Oh,
This is a gift for Caitlin's
No!
That's my girlfriend.
What?
Congrats, everyone. Welcome to the stage. My girlfriend, the Predator.
Oh no!
That wasn't on the list of the 2 movies.
Yeah.
I am terrified now.
I'm so excited. Okay.
That'll do it for tonight's episode of Beacon. Thank you everyone so much for watching us tonight. We will catch you back next Monday night for the 8th session. We are creeping up on our finale. We are going to be doing, just so everybody knows, we are going to be going on break. So the Streampunks, we are going to be stopping. I think our final episode of Beacon is on I actually posted the schedule just this afternoon, so let me let you all know. Where did I post that? Scheduling, there it is. Okay. So our final episode, did I not post it?
You did.
So
Where is
from
it?
what I recall, we should be
Is it on socials?
in 2022 through episode 10. Thereafter, we will be returning in 23.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give our stop date because we did have a date.
Yeah, where did you put it?
I don't
We're
know. I
never
posted it
stopping.
in,
We're playing together forever.
I posted it in scheduling,
I
and now I
know.
don't see it.
I can't find it.
I can't find it. Oh, is it in general chat? Maybe
Yeah.
the 12th. Thank you. We were actually
Yes.
we were playing it around when QueueTimes is going to be shuttering. So yes, the 12th will be our holiday pause, and then
Does
we
that
come
mean-
back and we will finish in January. What's up?
That means our last game of 2022 is on the 12th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, our last Monday night game will be on the 12th this month, so we have a few more episodes to go. Thank you so much, Dimmy Plane, as always, for sponsorships and letting us play out into the alien universe.
Yes, thank you.
And indeed all of the dark universes of sci-fi. We deeply appreciate it. Don't forget to click on those bit.ly links. It's a great way of supporting the Streampunks, and don't forget to subscribe to QueueTimes. We're going to leave you with that. Thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. We will see you next Monday night. Until then, sleep well.